Hey everybody, it's me, John Ward, and I am back. Donald Wills is back with another film discussion. And today we do have a very special guest. That would be Phillip Trickey, also known as, and I want to get this right, OGP, since I keep saying the letters wrong. And Donald is just crazy guy over there.
It's all gonna end. It's all gonna end, guys. It's fucking Lovecraft. He knew what he was talking about. He knew what he was talking about.
So I see you do read H.P. Lovecraft.
I do.
There it is. Do you watch John Carpenter films?
We do.
Probably.
And he was a prophet. I told you.
He's never seen one before in his life, as evident by his face right now and the cover of the movie.
That's actually pretty Phillip, pull that up again, because that's pretty close to what Donald's face looks like. Did you look at
I basically did exactly what the guy did in the movie. I did a couple different things, but
that looks really good.
It does, yeah.
You did a good job. That shows that you are crazy.
I just did the white hair because you know, if you read Lovecraft stories, it always ends with he was so scared that his hair turned white from the fear of the unknown or whatever. So
yeah. Oh yeah. So John is back, Donald is back, and now we have OGP. Phillip is here. Hi, Phillip.
Hello.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello.
Good day, sir.
I am well, thank you very much. Honored to be here and join you two gentlemen on a journey into John Carpenter madness over here. And I was gonna wear my Friday the 13th shirt in honor of John Carpenter, but it was in the wash right now. So instead, I wore my Scream Factory shirt right here.
Well, John Carpenter and Friday the 13th.
Yes.
How does that work?
It doesn't. I was trying to throw you off there. I like when people start talking movies and they go, "Oh, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. So why am I watching this?" So I like to throw everybody a curveball. So
let's be real here, man. That's pretty much me every time John talks, because John knows more than I do. So most of the time it's just him talking. I'm just like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm typically in that same boat. But so the first time I ever met John Carpenter in person, I actually was wearing this is very funny because I didn't have any type of John Carpenter t-shirts at all. And so I was wearing a shirt. It was a recreation of the Beatles walking across, what is it, Abbey Road or whatever that street is. And so, but the recreation was like Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees and Ghostface and like Pinhead. It was like 4 horror icons, none of which were Michael Myers. And I'm wearing that shirt the first time I met John Carpenter. I was like, oops.
It's like that picture. I've posted it a couple times. I've seen other people do it, where a fan is handing Jack Nicholson a picture of Heath Ledger as the Joker to sign, and Jack Nicholson is like that, holding the pen, like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I'd be like, here, you can have this back and go fuck. Well, are we using bad words?
Yeah. You'd say whatever you want.
But it's funny. I recently saw a video clip of Robert Patrick at a convention in Australia where somebody asked him to sign. It was like a big figure of a Terminator, but it was from like a movie that he wasn't in. And so he starts being like a real dick to him, and they're all like, oh. And then he's like, just kidding. And he signed it. As he is a really great dude. He's a really great guy. But
that's funny.
It was very funny. Like that person's reaction was like, oh crap. But
we just made him mad.
Well, and I love that you wore your shirt. Did you wear that shirt on purpose because of these movies?
This shirt right here,
Yes.
this particular shirt right here, had nothing to do with the fact that that's a Scream Factory movie right there.
So
Or that one is a Scream Factory right there.
yes, yep. Or
and
that.
And this one is not a Scream Factory right there. No,
well,
but yeah, no, this one I actually Walmart sale for $9.99. It was like one of those Black Friday sales is where I got that one. But I haven't even opened the thing because you can stream it so easily.
Well, mine are all from Scream Factory.
Well, aren't you special?
And I would like for you to look at one of your copies on the back here. And
the freaking name dropping with this guy over here.
I can point out right. Oh, look, Blu-ray producer Cliff Macmillan. Oh, wait, look on this one here. Oh, look, Blu-ray producer Cliff Macmillan.
I'm not looking. I'm not looking.
Look on this one right here. Oh, look, Blu-ray Cliff Macmillan.
Well,
my friend Cliff Macmillan of almost 40 years.
I have a friend too.
Donald knows who that person is.
I got his autograph.
I know who it is. I watched the interview that you did with him.
Oh, wait, what interview? With who?
Oh, I don't...
I'm sorry. We're talking about.
With yeah,
I thought you were talking about.
I did.
You talk about this right here.
Oh, is that a Dusty Ferguson?
Dusty.
Yep, that shot in Phillip's house
right here.
Oh, that movie was shot right there.
Yeah.
Oh, so I don't know if I should be proud or not, but I just officially joined the exclusive club of banned by Dustin Ferguson.
Nice.
You finally got blocked?
I finally got blocked.
What did you do?
I have no idea. I guess probably he's stalking you and heard me say a couple bad things about his movies, and then I just got blocked.
Well, did he threaten to kill himself to you?
I have no idea, to be honest with you.
I think I still have those bragging rights because I got like a 4-page message with him telling me that he was going to kill himself if I didn't take my review down. So,
yeah, he reviewed one of his films and just destroyed it. I think I saw a copy of it too. I downloaded that review.
And in the words of Michael St. Michael's, he's a bullshit artist. Bullshit artist.
Yeah, he is. So,
although I am grateful that Peter Stickles was here at the house that day and he signed my Cemetery Gates movie. So, one good thing came out of that day.
Yes, it did. Yes. Okay, so we are here to 8 minutes in to discuss the John Carpenter Apocalypse trilogy. This is our Halloween episode, and so I made the suggestion of reviewing these, and I'm hope that everybody did their homework and watched all 3 movies, and I figured you wouldn't go to the back of the class. And and
I watched everything except The Thing because I've seen The Thing a million times. So plus we just did like a review of it like 2. We just talked about it like what 2 or 3 film discussions ago. So I figured like
this movie twice already. There was twice already because we reviewed all the Thing movies. And then there was our favorite movies. And so this is on my favorites list. So we've talked about it twice and Phillip has talked about it 0. So there you go. So now we get to hear from Phillip. What did you think of John Carpenter? Because we'll start with the very first one in order of the Apocalypse trilogy.
Okay. Before we even get into that, even after watching these, I understand this Prince of Darkness is kind of getting toward an apocalypse, and the Mouth of Madness is kind of like an apocalypse in one dude's head, and this is like kind of the apocalypse in the North Pole that may go around the world or whatever. But I have no idea how these movies are connected at all. So is there a backstory onto why this is an apocalypse trilogy?
So it was never made by Carpenter to be an apocalypse trilogy. That is a fan title, and
Okay.
it now sticks. Like the George Romero's Holy Trilogy would be Night, Dawn, and Day. That was not Romero based. That was fan based. So this one is the pretty much, who, if they are rescued and taken to like a city, we're doomed. They're dead. So and then the Prince of Darkness is we never see his hand touch the mirror at the end. But if you watch the trailer, it does. So this is an apocalypse that was averted, but not really. It still probably is going to happen. And this is not in his head. This actually happens. The apocalypse does happen. It's in his head, but it's not in his head. It does happen.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. No. And yeah, we'll dive in and talk about all of them. But I was just curious how it became like, called like a trilogy. I was unaware of that. And in fact, I would have thought if we were talking about like apocalyptic trilogies, I would have thought maybe Assault on Precinct 13 or something would have been more applicable. But just because the Mouth of Madness. But I understand after watching it again the apocalyptic aspect to it now. But
plus all three of them kind of have like a hint to like Lovecraft kind of deal. So I think everyone.
They're cosmic horror. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a very Lovecraftian feel to these, including the Quartermass series from Hammer, and how those are a very H.P. Lovecraft influenced, and Carpenter was a huge H.P. Lovecraft fan and a huge Quartermass fan, and so a lot of those were put into these movies too. So what is your take on Carpenter's The Thing? What did you think? Because there's now 3 Thing movies. Technically, Harbinger Down is a sequel or a remake of the Thing prequel, and they are planning on doing another Thing film, Frozen Hell, based off of the manuscript that they found. So what did you? There's a whole bunch of Thing stuff. What's your take on The Thing?
I love The Thing. I think it's a great movie. It kind of stands the test of time because of the location, because they are so isolated, so you don't need, to show, so many modern things or whatever. Yeah. Okay. They don't have cell phones and that, but I love the fact that it really feels like it stands the test of time. It keeps you guessing throughout the whole film. And, the human element where they start to not trust each other and they all start, fighting amongst each other, which we see that so much. And, for example, The Walking Dead, you have the main villain, it should be the zombies, but no, it's the people fighting each other. The Thing, you would really think you should be worried about the Thing, but we don't know who to trust. And, watching some, special feature-y type things about the Thing, I love the fact some of the little details that John Carpenter put in, like the thing about the eyes, where if they don't, like you see in your screen, you have like a reflection of the light in your eyes. In the movie, if there's no like reflection of the light in their eyes, that's kind of a giveaway that they are the Thing. So, but who would notice that watching the movie? But it's little things like that. So I love the detailed elements, and just, I mean, it's a scary ass story Where do you go? How do you escape? Who's the bad guy? What do you do? I mean, there's a lot to keep you on the edge of the seat all the way through. So, I mean, it is a great movie. It is in the conversation when you talk about greatest horror movies of all time. And I don't want this to sound negative at all. It's not one of my like top 5 favorite horror movies of all time, but I absolutely love it. And it's great. I you know, almost everything John Carpenter's done, I've absolutely loved. And The Thing is definitely one of them.
And what did so when I was a kid, this came out in 1982. I saw it at a screening, like, you know, a few months before it came out, and we got shirts, blue shirts with what's on the front of your Blu-ray on it. That's the poster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was on the front of the shirt. I love the movie, and it bombed and destroyed Carpenter's career for like 20 years, and it almost like destroyed his career. And do you guys think that Carpenter deserved that? Especially, I mean, that was the time of E.T. It was the same year of Friendly.
I was going to say, wasn't E.T. responsible for killing the Thing?
Well, just like slave owners, I kid. He was a victim of his time. I know, bad taste reference, but that's me. Fucking suck it. That's what you get. But no,
it's okay. We've already been canceled, so it's fine.
But no, I mean, you know, here's the problem: is you go put out a movie like The Thing when you are in one of the biggest eras in history of slasher movies coming out, where you don't have to think, you just have a killer going around killing people. When you don't know who the killer is or what the killer is, and you actually have to follow along, it's for a more, I don't, you know, want to say necessarily a more intellectual crowd, but it's somebody who's willing to sit down and focus and pay attention to a story.
Yeah.
You know, than, you know, somebody who just, you know, may want to go see, you know, Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees cutting people's heads off. So it definitely maybe was a little ahead of its time in that sense, but not too far ahead, because shit, this could not be made nowadays. The TikTok generation would have no patience to sit through a movie like this if it just came out. So I think it would bomb again, but I'm glad he made it. I'm glad we have it. And you know, Kurt Russell, man, enough said.
Yeah, Kurt Russell wasn't even his first choice, even though you know, Carpenter had worked with him before. It was basically all the other tough guys in Hollywood. You know, you know, the Steve McQueens or the Clint Eastwoods were all up for it first before he even got to Kurt Russell, which I could never see anybody else playing.
No,
you know, that role than Kurt Russell.
Like Snake Plissken. Who else could play Snake Plissken? You know, but one thing that I do want to mention before I forget about it is, it's funny that you know, his name, Kurt Russell's name in the movie is McCready, right? Or is they call him McCready? McCready, right? McCready.
yeah.
I think McCready, right?
Yeah. Either way.
But anyways, I know a guy personally who's also played a character named McCready, but it was actually pronounced McCroy.
Would he be a clown by chance?
He would be a clown. He owned a clown motel, and he killed a bunch of innocent paranormal researchers for no good reason, aside from the fact that he's a lunatic, maniacal clown. I like to call him a killy rapey clown.
So the person who produced this has an isolated location, a group of researchers, a killer clown or creature, let's say, of the supernatural, killing off these people. It sounds like to me maybe the person who wrote it or produced it might have seen The Thing.
I mean, there's a chance, but that person who wrote it and produced it, or didn't write it, but was their idea, They also hired a dickhead to direct it, so there's that.
Yes, there we go.
But
Donald,
but
do
no,
you even know what we're talking about?
You guys lost me there.
yeah.
We're discussing Clown Motel Massacre, a film that I starred in and that Phillip co-wrote and produced up at the Clown Motel, and
Okay.
the names of Kurt Russell and my character are very similar. So,
Okay.
No, they're both spelled McCready.
oh, they are.
They're both spelled exactly the same. And that
Is this the one that didn't come out, or
it's not out yet. Yeah.
okay?
I have bogarted it. It's all for me. Everybody else gets to suck it.
There you go. We worked hard on a movie that we'll never see, but Phillip can see it.
And I watch it on a daily basis. No,
just to spite all of us. So
yes.
you know,
if I had, unfortunately, if we're on my channel, I have the trailer for it. I can play it. But being that we're not on my channel, I can't do that. So I was trying to find some pictures, but I don't have them. I digress. Let's move on, sir.
yeah. But there is a similarity between Clown Motel Massacre and The Thing, though. So there was, at least I'm seeing it. So it's but something new. Did you ever see the prequel to The Thing?
I only know of this thing.
So there is the prequel that's
Okay.
produced by Zack Snyder,
Also called The Thing.
also called The Thing, and it takes place at the French camp.
And that's not a. I thought that was like a. That's not a remake. I thought there was
it's a requel.
Oh.
So it's a remake sequel. Well, no, it's a remake prequel.
Okay. Okay. You learn something every day.
Yeah. So in that one, though, because it's a little more modern, even though we don't see it in any of the footage from John Carpenter's, there's women in it. So where John Carpenter's is all men, the lead is female, and there are other female researchers that are up there. And then that's when they discover the ship. That's when they pull the big cube, big thing of ice out, and it escapes. And whatever, Kurt Russell and the doctor go to see at the French camp, that's what we find out what happened. Now, I watched this one video that talked about that the big debate on Carpenter's The Thing is, who is the thing at the end? And some people have said it's Childs because he doesn't have any breath coming out of his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
But people that worked on the film have said, no, it's the camera angle. Is if you look at Kirk Cameron, oh my God. If you look at Kurt Russell's camera angle, you're going to see his breath. When you look at Childs, you don't. But this person brought up that in the prequel to The Thing it's metal. That's the thing that it cannot replicate is metal. So if you have like a plate in your arm, it can't replicate it. If you have like a tooth, like a cavity, it can't replicate it. And somebody they pointed out that Childs does have an earring. So, and the earring is a big thing in the prequel that you could tell if somebody is the Thing because they don't have an earring anymore. But Childs, they even circled it. He does have an earring. So I guess if you want to go off of the prequel, we still don't know who the Thing is. Do you have an idea of who the Thing might be?
My only thought with it is if the Thing at all is any human being, they're all wearing clothes, which would have zippers or buttons or something. So I understand the idea. I mean, and especially like if you're going off like, Terminator, where they go back in time and it has to be just them. They have to be naked and everything. But are we to say that they, when the Thing became, transformed to look like one of them, did the Thing then take off their clothes and put their clothes on to match?
In both films, it contradicts itself, because in some cases, because you remember in The Thing, the cook, the black guy on roller skates goes, you know, which one of you nasty assholes threw their dirty drawers in my garbage? So they're getting the clothes are being left behind, but not always, because we do see people that become the Thing that are wearing the same clothes that they were, and that's in both films.
See, and that's the point where an earring, it could have taken the earring out and put it in himself, you know, to match, you know, if that was the case. If it's going to swap clothes, why couldn't it swap an earring? So, I mean, that to me, there's a little bit of a, maybe like a plot hole there or something with the earring or with the clothes or whatever.
I mean, when the prequel was kind of saying more like if they had like a metal tooth, you know, it couldn't replicate the metal tooth, or if it had like a metal plate, if that person had a metal plate in their head, you know, it couldn't replicate the metal plate. So that's kind of what they were going for there. But with the earring, I agree with Phillip there. You know, hey, earring, just take it out, put it on. You know, hey, I'm the real guy. So.
Well, yeah, and they do the testing in both films. So with Carpenter's, it's the blood test. In the prequel, it's checking for fillings. I love in Carpenter's how no one is wearing a mask. I mean, this is an alien that they're messing with, and not one person is wearing a mask. And even Kurt Russell, when he's doing the blood, he's holding it like right here. And he's testing it, and the thing, you know, it pops up like this, and he drops it. But it's like the Thing, because it's 1982, it's a metaphor for AIDS. So it's like you're testing the blood for a disease that at the time there was no cure for, and you're holding it in your hand right next to your face.
Yeah.
So like, none of these people seem to even you know, Mr. Diabetes, when he's ripping the thing apart, he just has gloves on. Like, there's no mask, there's no nothing.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't
AIDS,
they
you don't breathe in AIDS, you know, it's obviously blood transfer. But, you know, and there's one scene, one of the things that, you know, in some of the homework I did, you know, on this, because it's interesting too to watch and then you know, hear other people's thoughts or behind the scenes and that type of stuff. But what's his name, that you know, his blood was bad, he was the Thing. You know, they say the way he got it was because the pen, he put the pen on his lip, and what did the pen touched or something, but anyways, it touched his lip, and that's how he became the Thing. So there was a transfer there. So I mean, you know, I understand your point of why, you know, would nobody be wearing masks when you don't know what it is? Could it be viral? You know, when the uncertainty of it, you would think they would wear, you know, something more protective. But at the same time, I mean, a station like that, you would think that they would have some type of masks up there. But did they? Were they prepared for like a outbreak where they would need masks?
But I would think if any of them were let's say just one of them died, they fell off of a cliff, that if you were doing an autopsy, you would still probably be wearing a mask.
I mean, I would, because I don't want no cooties splashing in my mouth, but
but a normal doctor would. I mean, anybody would. Like, I get that, maybe, you know, or put the scarf around, you know, around your face, because you just don't. I mean, it's an alien, and you don't know what you're getting. I mean, everybody was somehow, the dog jumped on 2 people, so that's an infection. Like you said, the pin. So as he's going around and he's tapping the thing, he puts it on his lip. So anything, I guess, that you're touching, kind of,
you just have to get that DNA or, you know, carbon-based fluid or whatever. You have to transfer it somehow. But you know, but with, I don't know. I think this is an irrelevant, kind of tangent, but with the premise that if somebody died and they were doing an autopsy, would they do it there in a little camp like that, or would they ship that body off, back, home or wherever to get that done? But I don't know. But the thing is, they don't know what's going on at first, right? So, I mean, for most of it. So at what point do you go, shit, we need to wear masks, or we need to wear gloves, or we need to protect ourselves? At what point does this really become some type of outbreak or something that they have to worry about, instead of it just being one crazy person or one alien or one being that's doing this? I don't know. I don't remember in the movie at what point we kind of crossed that bridge to make that determination. So anything before that, go ahead.
I think at one point they had one of the characters was like, "Hey, I think we all need to prepare our own food. We need to eat out of cans if possible.
Oh, yeah.
To stop being able to spread this thing if the thing is spreadable that way." So I'm thinking, at that point is when they finally figured out, okay, maybe this thing is copying us because it's able to, be transferred to each other. But even then,
and that, I think, so that's obviously, at that point moving forward, all precautions should have been utilized. But I wonder too, if you put the entire cast in masks, I mean, shit, ADR would be easy. You wouldn't have to worry about lip syncing or anything. But it might be, I wonder if that was like a director's prerogative, that he wanted to be able to see people talking. And so not go with masks.
Yeah, or maybe they just didn't even think about it. I mean, it's because even in the original Thing from Another World, I mean, this alien is running around killing everybody, and except for guns, nobody's really taking care. They're not really taking any precautions. Until near the end where they want to electrocute it or set it on fire. But still, even if you had a giant carrot monster, which they said the Thing was in the original movie, they're still not. They're just walking around. They're just doing what's ever normal, because even when they're at the French camp and Kurt Russell and the doctor find the guy who jumps, in the prequel, he jumps out of the building, the guy, and that's the guy whose head is all separated. And they still had to lift that and put it on like a blanket or something and strap it to the helicopter. So they're still coming in some sort of contact with whatever this creature is. And I mean, there's a whole bunch of theories, like, did the alien purposely crash on the planet? Was that not the alien, but like a different alien that said, oh, screw this, I can't let this thing get out, so I'm going to crash land on this icy planet? So, and if you read the comic, which is a sequel, it is Childs who's infected. It's not Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, which but I guess they are going to make another one. They are making a different film. So, but it's, and I think the film it's beautifully directed, beautifully edited. The effects are amazing, right up there with like An American Werewolf in London, for that time period. The music, of course, is great. Morricone and Carpenter, both did it, even though Carpenter's not listed. The casting, I think, is perfect. It's like you couldn't get a better. It's a diverse cast, that's for sure. So nobody can complain about that, of younger and older actors. So it's a I think it's just an amazing film. And then watching a couple videos as somebody, I wanted to comment on this, which was the earring in Childs, which is like, oh, okay. So if you're going off of the first movie, the prequel, then I guess if you do see something in his ear, or even if you were to see fillings in his teeth, then I guess he isn't. Because another theory was that Kurt Russell's character is the McReady has, when he passes him the alcohol, that it isn't alcohol, that it's like kerosene or gas, to see how he reacts.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just a theory.
Yeah. And but I wonder too, though, is it maybe, can we chalk the earring up to continuity issue or like a flaw? I mean, it's possible that you know, I mean, shit, maybe Keith David just got that earring and didn't want to take it out. So, you know, he didn't want his piercing to close up, you know, or maybe it just didn't even occur to him at the time. It would be interesting to,
I mean, it wouldn't have, because that was all prequel stuff.
Yeah.
So we're talking about like 30 years later, you know.
Yeah, because Carpenter didn't have anything to do with the prequel. Did he? He didn't have anything to do with the prequel, did he? Okay,
No,
so that was basically, it's basic at this point. It's basically fan fiction at this point. Like, what can we tell the story? I guess what they were trying to do, because they call it a sequel, they call it a remake, they call it a prequel, or not sequel, prequel. They call it a remake, but they're kind of trying to make it that it's okay. Let's tell the story from the other base, and then because they kind of end it with, you know, the helicopter chasing the dog, right, which kind of goes into Carpenter's movie, but then some things just don't line up either. So
yeah, you could do an edit and it would almost be perfect of having with the dog, because because like they had to have, of course, in the prequel, the one French guy who doesn't speak English, because when they go to the American camp, he doesn't speak English.
Yeah.
So they definitely had to make certain things. I like the film. I don't mind it. I don't mind what they did.
No.
But when you rewatch Carpenter's The Thing, I looked to see if you could see women in there, and I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, maybe not. I mean, I guess if they stayed at the camp while they were looking for the UFO, if they, they're all bundled up in the snow jackets, so maybe you couldn't see them. So maybe there were women there, but I don't know. I think if they had done that film, let's say in 1985, it still would have all been men. I don't think that they would have included women.
No, I mean, it's just, you go back to look at like expeditions, like scientific expeditions, or, like the military things that in the past traditionally were done by men. I think at the time it was correct. I mean, were there female scientists? Were there female, scientists going out on expeditions at the time? Yes. But at the same time, 30, 40, 50 years ago, if you are maybe more, maybe say 40, 50, 60 years ago, a female in that situation, her safety is going to, especially if there's booze down there, she's going to be, either raped or knocked up or something, bad is going to happen. And so the idea of putting women in that situation was kind of taboo a long time ago. And so now society has said, hey, men, you have to be respectful of these ladies. You have to treat them as equal and all that stuff. So right or wrong for the way the first movie was, I think the second, or the one from 2011, that was going to have women in it regardless, just because of the fact that, I mean, women's lib and all that, Me Too. And I mean, at this day and age, if you made a movie that was all men, one audience probably would go like, man, a sausage party movie? Come on, give me some broads. But then, and they might not have said broads, but I did. But then, they would get a bunch of shit for not being a diverse cast. In 2011, that was already a thing.
Yeah. Well, I would think that probably some sort of research was done for Carpenter's The Thing. Because if you look at the one from the 50s, it was mostly men, but there were also a bunch of women. So, and they stop off at an Air Force base. They then go to, the research base, and there are women there, but the women are very casual. It's their secretaries or getting coffee or something like that. But of course, that was the film was aimed more at a younger kid audience. Something like 12 that's into monster movies and Frankenstein and you know,
Yeah.
the Wolfman and all that type of stuff. So, but when you look at something like, let's say, Alien 3, where Ripley is the only woman on that prison planet,
Well,
and she does, they even though they've sworn off women and they're religious and all that type of stuff, they still try to rape her outside in that like junk pile,
I
you
mean,
know,
human
until
nature,
she
you
gets
know.
saved.
Yeah, I mean, human nature. Like, you know, shark smells blood in the water. Shark wants to eat. You know, a guy sees a woman. Guy wants to mate. You know, and so it's easy when there's no women around to forget about it. But when they're there, it's a different story. And the same thing. I mean, just look at it in society. You know, as a Marine, you know I went to 13 weeks of boot camp. Uh, there were no women. It was all men because they didn't want you to have that distraction.
Yeah.
Now they've decided they're integrating the women and men, you know, inhabit the same space in boot camp now. And it's a different fucking military nowadays, man. You know, we got a general that wears a skirt, you know, so it's a different day and age, right or wrong, like it or not, you know, that it's just a different time. You know, and I think John Carpenter's telling of it, whether there was, you know, women in the first one or not, I do think he went to be accurate, you know, with how this expedition would have been. Because if I was a guy going, hey, I'm going to send, you know, 10 people up to the North Pole to sit and look for aliens or whatever the fuck they're doing up there. I'm going to send them up there. You know, 30, 40, 50 years ago, I wouldn't want to send women up there. Nowadays, I'd be like, okay, you know what? We can send women up there, but we have video cameras. We have different things to help these women feel safe. You know, where way back in the day, might not have had those security measures, you know, to allow you know the women to, you know. But it's an old fashioned thing, and I don't know if it's because John Carpenter was writing old fashioned or, you know, or if it was, or directing old fashioned anyways, or was it just he was going for accuracy? You know, I don't know.
Well, yeah, because because I was just thinking about this, is if you look at with Carpenter's the thing, and the prequel takes place at the same time. You know, it's you know, the exact same time. But in Carpenter's one, there's nothing in there that men would like. There's like, you're not seeing Playboy.
Yeah.
You're not seeing posters of Coors Light girls or something like that up. You're not getting Sports Illustrated. You're not. It's very like the entire base is woman free. Like there's no.
But to your point of this being, you know, all like, you know, whatever, like a innuendo for AIDS, you know, in the 80s, you know, it was primarily men. It was a community of men. They wouldn't be looking at women. They were, you know, as gay men. So, I mean, if that's what they're going for, it works. You know, you have this isolated community of men who back in the 80s, gay men were like an isolated community. So, I mean, really, you know, what you're saying about the AIDS thing makes a lot of sense. You know, an isolated community, nothing but men, no interest in women. They're fine. They don't know what this thing is that's getting them or how it's translated, you know, transferring from one to another, you know, or who or when it's going to get you. But to the point of not wearing masks or anything, the gay men still went and had sex and didn't wear condoms and still spread the thing like wildfire. So, I mean, there's a lot in that sense. If it really was, you know, about AIDS, I mean, it kind of explains a lot of the things that went on.
Yeah, because they've said, you know, you horror movies and stuff are great for allegories. Like, you know, Night of the Living Dead was communism. You know, Dawn of the Dead, consumerism. You know, you have you know, especially the book I Am Legend is all about communism. And then, you know, even Aliens, they've said is AIDS. That the aliens, that the xenomorphs are basically the AIDS virus. And then, but then that was dropped out when they were doing the comic books for Dark Horse, where they compared them to ants. So they're the red and black xenomorphs, like ants. So and I don't know if back then, 1982, if the thing was, I mean, I'm going off of commentaries that I watched before we did this video of listening to different people discuss the movie. And they did bring up AIDS as a that was a metaphor for.
Well, I mean, it's a good thought, but that was still so early on in the AIDS pandemic. You know, that it really, was society aware that that's what was causing it by that point? I don't know. I was too young at the time, but, you know, and if they didn't know, I mean, it's kind of interesting that John Carpenter made this, and it fits as a perfect metaphor, but, I don't know. I kind of think, but you know, one thing that's interesting about it, when we look, if we sit here and name, and John, you and I have talked about this recently, men getting killed in horror movies get killed brutally, but who gets killed a lot more? Women. We kill a lot more women. We like to see women. We like the eye candy. So for this to be a movie that is strictly men, how daring of John Carpenter. And maybe no wonder it bombed. He didn't have that eye candy to put on the cover. And I'm sorry, but you know, even nowadays in the early 80s or nowadays, you're not going to get a whole bunch of women to get up and go to the movie to see even Kurt Russell being a hunky guy or whatever. They're not going to go. They're going to go see The Notebook, or something along those lines, but they're not going to get up to go see The Thing. So it was, I think it was ballsy move on Carpenter's part to have an all-male cast.
Yeah. Donald, you've been pretty quiet, man. You got anything you want to?
I mean, you guys are pretty much saying pretty much everything I was going to say anyway. So, I mean, I'm basically just letting you guys talk at this point. But I agree. I mean, I think to answer the question you said earlier, Philip, you saying about like, why didn't they just ship the bodies off? I think right at that time there was a big blizzard at that point, so they couldn't get out. So that's why it feels so isolated and all that. So everything you guys said about like John, you said about the AIDS epidemic, like the isolation, everything. Philip was broadened on that. Definitely makes a lot of sense now. Whether John Carpenter actually intended it that way or not, we don't know. I think that's just fan theorizing what during that time, because a lot of people a lot of allegories is a lot of fan theories. I mean, not there are some people that are like, hey, this is exactly what I meant by this, and then there's some people who are like it's up to your interpretation. What do you want to think about this?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's when do these allegories come in? Did George Romero, while writing and making Night of the Living Dead, say to John Russo, "Oh yeah, this is an allegory for communism"? What is, or was it just a zombie movie? And that was it. And then it was years later, like The Matrix, the Wachowskis, they transitioned. They are now trans women. And now one of them is saying, oh no, the Matrix has always been about trans. Was it? Or is it now what you're saying? So it's like, I don't know. When I saw The Matrix when it first came out, I didn't take that away at all. And back then they were the Wachowski brothers. So was this, are you now just applying it to today? Like, so is The Thing and AIDS, was that brought on later?
I think so. I think it's a convenient argument to defend or support, the trans community. I think it's just convenience. I mean, I know this is going to be blasphemy, but I've never seen any of the Matrix movies. I started watching part 1 and got, I don't know, about a half hour in, and it was like, I'm bored. I turned it off.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I've never gone back. Yeah. I love Keanu, but I couldn't give a shit about the movies. I've tried a couple times to get into them. And I just can't. But anyways, I do believe that it's probably a convenient argument, for them on their behalf. But I wonder, and here's the thing. I wish maybe we should have done this video 3 weeks ago, and I could have asked John Carpenter. But 364 days from now, if I'm there, I'll try and ask John Carpenter, was the thing about AIDS? So, because there will be another John Carpenter signing 364 days from now.
Well, there you go. I would appreciate it if you would ask him that. So
we'll revisit this 365 days from now.
Yeah, there's but they got that down to like, is that correct? Like they already have him set up for
no. Well, so it is every year. The Saturday before Halloween, they do a John Carpenter book signing for his Halloween night books, which I have a couple of from the signing at Golden Apple Comics in LA. And so that's John Carpenter's autograph right there. And then you get to take one of your own items and get him to sign that. So it happens every single year. This was year 10. I have 8, and somewhere around here, I have 7. I didn't go last year or this year because how many fucking John Carpenter autographs do you need? I have him on a Funko Pop. I have him on my Halloween picture with Jamie Lee Curtis and Nick Castle. And I have him on my Halloween poster. So I was going to go this year for shit because it's only $50. It's $50. And you get this signed by him, Sandy King, the rest of the people involved with making this. And you get another item signed for $50. That would be at a convention. That would be $250 because he charges $125 for each autograph at conventions. So, so anyways, yeah, it will be next year, a Saturday before Halloween. He'll be signing stuff. So, and I, what I told him about John was I told him about seeing him in concert at the Hard Rock there. And I told him I absolutely loved it. And he was excited to talk about his music. Everybody's talking about Halloween this, Halloween that, or the thing this. And I was like, man, I love the music. I love the concert. Are you going to tour again? He's like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, well, I hope to God you do, because I would love to go back and see.
That's a great show.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, Halloween night, with just him up on stage doing all the hits, all of a sudden hearing the theme to Halloween or the theme to Escape from New York, and just the audience just going crazy.
Yes.
So,
yes.
For this old guy playing soundtrack music, it's.
And you know what? I mean, I'll tell you what, man, In the Mouth of Madness, what an awesome fucking theme song that movie has.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all of his stuff is great.
I have a comment on that when we get to it, so.
Yeah, it's well, so maybe to end off on the thing, and then we'll move into Prince of Darkness. What if everything is just what it is? What if the thing is just a movie about an alien that can shapeshift, and that's it? There's nothing behind it.
John.
Yeah, Donald. What just. And in life too, what if all these conspiracy theories aren't even true? Oswald did shoot Kennedy. It wasn't the government or the Cubans or whatever. What if everything is exactly just what it is? It's just Night of the Living Dead is just zombies. It's just that, but we apply so much crap to everything.
If there's smoke, there's fire. If there's smoke, there's fire. If there's smoke, there, yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, man, one of my favorite off topic, but kind of relevant, little videos, little TikTok videos I've seen lately is, you know, the Leonardo DiCaprio, you know, from the movie where he's going up, 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 pointing. And then you hear P. Diddy. P. Diddy comes on and he goes, somebody asked P. Diddy, oh, who's your first guest you're inviting to the party? And he goes, Leonardo DiCaprio. Then it cuts back to Leonardo DiCaprio going, and that's why I'm voting for Kamala Harris. It's amazing. Somebody edited that together. So, but anyways, the bottom line is we know, or we're finding out about some of the creeps that have been involved with some of these other creeps and stuff. There's smoke, there's fire. And so I think I like the idea because of the uncertainty and the not knowing what's going on in the thing. The idea that there is more to it, that it is, you know, an alien, that it's spreading and they have to get under control and it can't leave the camp. And and then how, I mean, think about conspiracy theories in general, how, you know, we could even just bring up Jeffrey Epstein, conspiracy theories of who killed who was involved on his island and everything. And what does that do? That makes us all fight with each other as a side effect of it. So, you know, it's just in the movie, all of them start fighting with each other because they just don't know. And they're just pawns in this game and in this bigger, you know, thing that they don't understand. And I mean, our government, I know they're dumb and there's a lot of secrets they'd have a hard time hiding, but there are things that, you know, that we don't know, or things that are shady shit going on behind closed doors in Washington that would piss off a lot of us, I think. So I like the conspiracy elements of it, or, you know, that uncertainty for those reasons.
Is it better than, we'll say, John Carpenter's They Live? Is it better to just not have the sunglasses and just live your life like you always have, or put on the sunglasses, see what it really is, start a revolution, go to war with the aliens where millions of humans will die, you know, or like the Matrix with Joey Pantoliano, I was like Joey Pants.
Joey Pants.
Yeah.
I got his autograph somewhere around here. I think it's right up there.
Nice. And he, you know, he goes along with the, you know, with the aliens. He's just like, oh yeah, I can have my steak. I can eat this. I could do that. Fuck it. I think this is great. You know, why do I want to live in some wasteland? You know, or is it better to fight the aliens and live in some piece of shit? Oh my God. What's going on there?
Camera's being a dickhead. It wouldn't focus up there. But yeah, no, to me, that's a great question. And it all depends on your situation, because as you know, society tells us, or used to tell us, to have a family, live the American dream, get a house, have a family, settle down. What does that make you do? You want to protect your children. So you're not this wild and crazy person who wants to go fight wars. You want to settle down and kind of fall into the sheephood of society. Whereas, you know, if we don't have anything to lose, we don't have children, we don't have families, then fuck it, let's go fight the fight. You know, so I think it all depends. But that again promotes an interesting conversation. You know, and that's, I think, one of the best things about watching movie or TV shows, you know, is the questions that come out of it. And if you walk away from a movie going, I saw it, I'm done, then I think the director, the filmmaker, has failed. You know, for example, David Chase with The Sopranos. The fuck was that ending? We're still talking about it 15 years later. So I think we're talking about it 40 years later. So John Carpenter did good. No matter what, he did good because he made us think. You know, we still talk about, you know, Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street because they were fun, but we don't question them. You know, this is a thought-provoking. This is, man, let's go outside and smoke some weed and stare at the stars and talk about the thing all night, man. Like that kind of conversation. So I think he did good. I love, you know, if you don't have anything to talk about, man, these film discussions would be boring as shit, wouldn't they?
Well, yeah. Well, what? Okay, so would the Invasion of the Body Snatchers? Okay, Don and I talked about all those.
Yeah.
That was an allegory for communism again. It's all about, as the aliens, the people that have been conformed, they say it's a world without hate. It's a world without war. It's a world without prejudice. You're all kind of that one. So what if the Thing took over the world, and from the Thing taking over the world, there was no violence, there was no hate, there was no war? Would that be the worst thing for the Thing to take over the world then? Maybe it would be a good thing for it to get out of the Antarctic.
No, it wouldn't. One of the best things in life is free will, is me being able to do what I want to do. I want chocolate cake today. I'm going to have some fucking chocolate cake. You live in a society where everything is predetermined and you have no choices. What's the point of living? If you know the outcome, what's the point of living?
Okay. Hey, I'm just asking you questions. I'm just asking questions,
John.
Man. I'm just asking questions, man. That's so
putting you under a microscope. No, and I kid. I just, me. I get all excited in these things. It's not. I'm not attacking you. I'm attacking the theory, the philosophy.
That's why we call this film discussion, because it's all about discussion. That is the whole reason we created this. Because, it's like, hey, you have something that you can bring to the table. It's like, hey, I never thought of this movie that way. I mean, I knew about the AIDS epidemic that was basically the allegory for the Thing. And it's like, but then when you guys start, kind of putting the pieces together, it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense now. That seems to be a little more, effect.
There's a lot there. And on these things, you don't think of a lot of these things on your own. And that's where getting the, multiple inputs makes you really kind of start to wonder. It makes it make more sense.
But I mean, if something would stop war, wouldn't that be a good thing?
I mean, war's been around for so long. I don't think there's anything that's ever going to really stop it.
Do it.
But at what cost? That's where you have to say is at what cost. Now, believe me, I keep saying this, with this war like going on in Ukraine and Russia. It's 2024. Why the fuck are we throwing bombs at each other still? Why can't we figure this out? Why are 700,000 people dead because of this war? It's ridiculous. We don't need war, but at what cost? To say all war is gone, and that basically we would be an enslaved society. We wouldn't be allowed to have opinion. 1984. Perfect example, the movie. We wouldn't be allowed to have our own opinions or anything. We would have to do this, have to do that. Your marriages are prearranged, if you even get marriages. Because at what point, when you turn your life over to the government or the powers that be, what point do they start saying, you don't get to have sex anymore because we're creating, children in test tubes and everything? So to me, it's a slippery slope. But the bottom line is human nature. By human nature, I want things. I want to smell the flowers. I want to taste that bean and cheese burrito I ate for lunch. I don't want somebody telling me what I have to do. And I would, and I want religious freedom. I don't want to be taxed to death, and so, I'm going to sail across the Atlantic Ocean, set up shop and tell King George to fuck off. I'm starting my own colonies over here because I want these opportunities and these freedoms, So, the idea that it sounds good in theory, but it will never work. And you look at like Star Trek, where people talk about Star Trek as this world where, money is irrelevant and all these things, but it's not actually, because Picard has a bigger room than whoever else, and they have nicer things the higher rank they are. So the hierarchy is never going to go away. You're always going to have the people running society that are still going to be riding around in Maseratis, while the rest of us are driving around in our Farfelnugan little VW bugs over here because the Führer says that's what we had to do. So no, I think, we want the freedom of choice. So I don't know. Hopefully someday there is a solution for war. I don't know. There's a simple answer. We will never see it. But it's interesting. I Googled, and the AI overview for what is the allegory for The Thing. The Thing by John Carpenter is an allegory for, quote, the fear of threats that could destroy civilization. So they're saying it's the fear of anything that could destroy civilization. It could be AIDS, could be aliens, could be whatever. But it's any paranoia that could destroy civilization. And and for them, it's that little world, that little civilization that they have up there. But I don't know. It could be, like The Shining, Room 237. There's like 12 different things, that supposedly The Shining's about. If you watch that. So I think my final statement on The Thing is I think it's fun that we get to talk about it and kind of decide for ourselves. And it's a cool thing that maybe John Carpenter didn't specifically answer that question for us.
Yeah. Well, I will say this, and then this kind of leads into Prince of Darkness, which is, science sends us to the moon and religion flies planes into buildings. So with that being said, Prince of Darkness.
I was just gonna say that I think it's always fun to just I hate when movies and this is every movie, not just The Thing, and any of John Carpenter's movies or any movie to be honest. I hate when people try to say they're like when the director's like, oh, I'm going to answer every little thing. No, I want to interpret it for myself. I want to think about certain things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because when Carpenter made The Thing, he was a director for hire for Universal, and they were just doing a remake of The Thing. Yeah. That's all it was. And then it was fans. And now he kind of goes along with it, because I watched a couple interviews with him, Q&A stuff. And people would ask him about his Apocalypse trilogy. And he kind of now plays along with it. He would say, well, that was never the intention.
Yeah.
But okay, sure. Why not? Yeah. I could see that. Okay. But it was never meant to be that way. Yeah. But what's interesting is that with The Thing being science fiction and science and aliens, now you have with Prince of Darkness a combination of science and religion.
Your blasphemous statement just got you feedback, sir. Are you hearing that?
I am hearing that.
Sorry, that was me. Sorry.
God has struck lightning down on you, John.
I only speak facts. Oh, it's gone though. Now the feedback is gone.
It is.
Yeah, that was me. I apologize.
Was that you?
Yeah, that was me. I was getting a phone call while we were here, so I apologize.
Oh, okay. It was a message from God, John. It was a message
from God.
We're on a mission from God.
I'm
on a mission from God.
But this is so what are you, so you guys being religious and Christians and all that, and me not but that's we're there you go. That's still the better poster. I still like that poster better than this one, which is inside here. But what did you guys think of the take of religion and science coming together to work on this?
I mean, it's a thing. I mean, it's definitely an interesting take. I'll give it that. Will I agree with it? No, but hey, that's what the freedom of religion and all that is. Hey,
What does that mean?
right.
What does that mean, though? But you don't agree with it. What does that mean?
Well, we'll get more into that. Like I more disagree with like how they kind of went about it. Like they were trying to make it more like, oh, Jesus was an alien or something like that. I'm like, what? So
I
that's
love
just
all that stuff. I think that stuff is amazing. That,
but
Oh,
like I said,
sorry. Yeah, no, my thought on all that is in any movie. This is funny. The movie we just wrapped that comes out December 6th, to plug the Heretics movie that I was just working on. Shameless promotion here. One person dropped out of the cast because they said the movie was against their religion after they read the script. It's a movie. It's a movie. I don't watch it for historical accuracy. I don't watch it for religious accuracy. I watch it to break away from reality. I don't necessarily want it to be realistic. So for me, and I know not everybody can do that, and not everybody wants to do that. And that's the beauty of art, is that we all get to like and interpret things the way we want. So, but for me, I didn't, the idea that what they were doing with religion here, it didn't bug me. But I think in the sense that, is it an alien? Because I mean, where is heaven? Where is hell? Where are these things? Are they, coming from different dimensions or whatever? As human beings, if we are really trying to get to the bottom of it, and we're going like, our goal is to find heaven. If it's really a place and we've now figured out how to enter alternate dimensions, we're going to find it. And so we would have to explore all these things. So I get what you're saying there, but I'm kind of okay with it, especially coming to find out that it's like, what's coming through that mirror was not God, but was more not Ozzy's Prince of fucking Darkness, but like Satan himself, trying to come, out of that mirror. So I like what, and this is one of my favorite John Carpenter movies. I absolutely love this. Donald Pleasance, one of my favorite actors of all times. But Prince of Darkness is great. I don't mind the religious elements, even, yeah, I'm not going to, dive into religious faith and everything, but I'm not an atheist, but it's a movie. And so I'm okay with that, but I understand, when people are not, but man,
I didn't hate the movie. Don't take that the wrong way. I mean, I just kind of, I because of my faith, I'm like, it was not a movie I would normally watch, and the only reason I watched is because of this video we're doing. But as a the film itself, I did enjoy the movie, but I may not be a movie I would rewatch again, maybe someday. But
But I mean, but if you take into, for me, my takeaways from this, it's you have a scientific community and a religious community coming together to try and solve a problem. And now I know what is preached in religion and all that. A lot of it completely, says, hey, what you know about science, it's all irrelevant, because the truth is going to happen one day, and you're going to find out, and you can't even imagine. Now, scientists do, acknowledge, what we know about the universe. We probably know 2% of the entire, things that there are to know about the universe and how things function and all that. So I think, and if we do even want to come from a religious aspect too, and I'm not trying to convince you one way or the other. No, I'm just saying my takeaways on it is that, the Bible, teaches us that we need to seek knowledge. We need to educate ourselves. And so, what better way to do that, than by going out and trying to learn these things. But now we have this problem. We have these things coming about, and we have to take care of them. And when you take religion and science and cross them together to come to a resolution, I like it, because it doesn't go, well, religion is just hogwash, it's all science. And so many movies are like, oh, you know, you're religious, that's just crazy talk. It has to be all science. So when you cross them over, I thought that's pretty cool, you know, and I just, parts of this are a slower burn. That's okay. You know, but the story is told well enough, you know, and things keep progressing along. And you know, I think I absolutely love this movie. I love it. And I totally missed the fact that Alice Cooper was the dude outside until rewatching
Love
it again.
that.
But
I thought that was brilliant. I mean, having Alice Cooper as the leader of the homeless guy of the homeless people, that, which, by the way, explain to me how that actually worked, because they didn't get the ooze ingested into them. So how are they possessed in a way?
I think it had something to do with like the end of times coming, with like they had to get this done before the morning, because I think the ooze and everything was to you know, create these, like, you know, soldiers or whatever that was going to get, you know, this demon or Satan or whatever it was through.
Yeah.
But like a hierarchy, you have Satan, then you have the soldiers, and then you just have the sheep or whatever. And I think that society as a whole would have just turned into all these sheep with this one ruler had he been able to come through. So I kind of think that they didn't need the ooze to become the zombies. You know, they needed the ooze to become like the warriors, or, you know, to be able to fight and get the powers.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that the ooze made like them into almost like soldiers for him, like they're protectors. They're you know, the one woman who, you know, is pregnant, you know, it's using them, but then the homeless people were the ones that were protecting outside, so they could be easily manipulated, maybe because of their state of mind, to kind of protect the church, to be outside in this. One thing that I do like with the combination of religion and science is that neither side is criticized. Neither side is made fun of. You have the guy with the mustache who looks like a young, you know, like Tom Atkins.
He does. I thought it was. I couldn't believe it wasn't.
Very young Tom Atkins. And he is, you could tell in the film that even though he doesn't say it, he is religious. So he's working in science, but he's a religious person, because once he kind of figures it out, he's like, oh crap. Yeah. Like he was the guy that was really, you know, working computer wise and religious wise at the same time. But nobody made fun of each other. Nobody said, you know, like Victor Wong never said to Donald Pleasance, oh, you're full of shit. You know, oh, you and your stupid religion. And Donald Pleasance is like, you and your stupid science. Yeah. Everybody worked side by side in trying to figure this out. So you take that ancient text and she's typing it into the computer, and that's translating it and telling them what's going on. So you're taking something that's ancient in religion and combining it with something that's new in technology, and they're working, you know, in conjunction with each other. And that's what I think I like about this, is that Carpenter went into this, because Carpenter did write this just under the Quatermass pen name. And because he was very interested in quantum physics. He had just read like a couple of quantum physics books and saw some lectures and said this would make an interesting movie. And so that's how I almost think things are done, should be done. And myself as an atheist, that's how I would like to see it being done. Is I wouldn't want a criticism of either side. I would want somehow both sides to work together and trying to solve a problem. Because if, let's say there's like, we've had all these storms. Are you really walking outside and saying, I'm sorry, sir, are you a Christian or are you an atheist? Because I don't think that you could help us. Yeah. Everybody's helping each other in these, you know, disasters.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's the thing with religion. We look at science, and this is what makes, when you say, show me evidence, you know, that this exists, you know, that their religion, show me proof that there's God, or show me proof, you know, all these things that, you know, atheists typically want, you know, it's like, you can't prove anything to me. But the same thing goes, you know, like with science, we cannot disprove that there is a God. We cannot disprove that there is an alternate dimension, that these maybe someday science gets there and can say, you know what? There are no other alternate dimensions. There are no, there is no, right now we can say there is no evidence of it, but we can't say we disprove it. But for science and religion to work together toward finding that answer, I think is the right thing to do. But so I agree with you, John, on that aspect. I want to know the truth. And the problem is when you have, books that have been handed down and we know the corrupt, history of human civilization, how many times it's been changed and how many different iterations of the Bible there are, you go like, man, somewhere along the lines, some Adolf Hitler book burning person came along and said, I don't like the way this is read. We're gonna get rid of all those, and we're gonna make it now the King James Bible or the whatever it is. And so there's room for error. And so I love the idea of science and religion working together. I think it's a great idea. It worked.
Well, yeah, because we, there are the lost pages of the Bible. One of the lost pages is Lilith, who is Adam's first wife, and how he cast her out into the ocean. Which is why you have Lilith Fair, and why women take like the name Lilith, because it goes against men.
Cheers.
She cheers. His wife is Lilith for a reason.
Yeah.
And so there are pages missing. There are things that a lot of people probably don't even know about. And as I'm sure science to a degree is the same way, that do we not think there's really a cure for cancer? Come on.
Oh, no. You want to talk about, we were just talking about conspiracy theories, sir. I guarantee there's already a cure for cancer. I remember back in the 90s, University of San Diego, they were like on the cusp of curing cancer. And then poof, it's gone. It's just gone. Pharmaceutical companies came in and said, yo, hey, we're going to give you a lot of money if you study this instead of cancer now. And they just redirect the focus, or they pump the brakes on it. They shut it down. And hopefully that's where it ends. You never know. It could be some of this conspiracy theory, stuff where people are getting killed because they're getting too close to the answers. But there's no doubt in my mind, we could shut the stuff down. And that's in one of my favorite people I love talking to, Neil deGrasse Tyson. He believes that where we are with medicine right now, that there is a human being alive today, not one, but, if you were born a baby today with science and medicine, you could live forever. That we have enough science and enough medicine to make your body stop aging. And so the problem is overpopulation and, these companies that wouldn't, need to sell you drugs and all this stuff, the religious aspects, there's these secret societies and all these, things that go on at these, the what do you call those colleges back east? Like Harvard and Princeton and all those, whatever all those colleges are called, but the secret societies and everything, and the people that supposedly come up, that run the world. I do still think there is a religious element in those factions. And so do they want people thinking, eternal life, or do they want people going, you know what, I need to do good, because if I don't, I'm going to go to hell. And, because then, if you could, if you knew you could live forever, there's so many different things with it. But anyways, man, my tangents, I'm telling you, you don't stop me. I just keep going. Next thing you know, or Ivy schools, the Ivy League schools, is what we're talking about, so, it is interesting, but
they bring that up in this, that's brought up, as remember, one of the guys goes, how could the Catholic Church keep this hidden for thousands of years? So it was, and Donald Pleasance is kind of like, well, yeah, we kind of had to, You
He
know,
he kind of said like, yeah. At that point, Donald Pleasant's character is kind of like, well, basically our faith is just made up at that point, and he kind of went down that route of like yeah, we just made up faith at this point. It's just to sell a couple Bibles, just to sell a couple things, and sad thing is I could see the Catholic Church doing that at this point because there's so much corruption with the Catholic Church and the Vatican and all that, so I could see a lot of this stuff happening. You know what I mean? Like they're hiding an ancient evil or something, and then they're just not telling us about it.
I think it's simpler than that. I think, way back in the day, you had society where people didn't fear, repercussion. They didn't fear doing bad things to each other if you could get away with it. But now if you add something that, big brother over your shoulder looking down on you, who's going to determine what happens to you when you die, if you could convince the world to believe that, then you have people willing to live in societies and treat each other with respect, and you have these peaceful, controllable societies. So I mean, if religion is not real, it was created to create society. And I mean, we could talk about all the wars and everything we have today, but if we didn't have religion, would we be here today? Because you think we fight a lot now? Fucking A, man. If we didn't have, people worried about what was going to happen to them after they died, shit, you could just walk down the street and do whatever you want to any human being you pass by with no repercussions. So I there's, who knows? Because there's, as far as our knowledge, there's one timeline. We're not living in a Marvel fantasy where there's multiple timelines and stuff. So it is what it is. This is where we are. But man, the argument that religion was created to make people treat each other better, it's interesting. Or at least maybe not created, but manipulated into doing that.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, hey, I mean, I tell people all the time, I don't, I say, everyone's like, the biggest argument I hear a lot of people say, how do you know that God is real? How do you know that the Bible is the truth? I say, I don't. I believe it, but if I'm wrong, hey, at least I tried to, live the right way. You know what I'm saying?
And if you're wrong, what do you have to lose?
Exactly.
By believing it, you have nothing to lose. So there's nothing wrong with having faith, and that's the beauty of it, is you have nothing to lose, and living your life, treating other people with respect, in just in general in life, maybe that good karma is going to come back to you or something. So there's nothing wrong with it at all.
But within within Prince of Darkness, there is, like, maybe the people that are on the science side have, of course, they have no idea about this church. They have no idea about this giant container literally filled with Satan. They have no idea about any of this type of stuff. But the church does know about science. So when you're taking these people on this side of science, not knowing any of it, and putting them together, I think that you have to. And one of the guys there, the young Asian guy who was in Big Trouble in Little China, he is calling all this bullshit. He's like, this is stupid. This isn't real. This doesn't make any sense, until he is brought to the realization that this is real.
Yeah.
So that's when, and it's like, there's this great movie about the rapture called The Remaining, where there is an atheist and some other people in it. And once the atheist realizes that this is all real, God is real, the angels are real, the rapture is real, he's fucking pissed. He's like, okay, I acknowledge now that God exists, but I'm still pissed. Why is he doing all of this? This is horrible. And he won't worship him. He won't accept God as his, Jesus and God as his savior, because of what God is doing. So I think until you're actually confronted with it, if it's a big vat of Satan or the rapture or whatever it is, including myself, if the rapture doesn't happen, I'm still going to be an atheist. But if it happens, I'm a believer, but I'm going to be pretty pissed off about what's going on.
But so I think, see, the thing is, if you became a believer, you know, at that point, the enlightenment of, well, you know, God gave us free will, you know, would be the argument. God gave man free will. So
to a degree, God gave us free will because God knows everything that's going to happen. So there is a contradiction in God. God knew that you would get into a car accident, but God gave you the free will to get into the car.
Yeah, I don't know. See, and that's part of, you know, that's, I know there's religious folks that are going to tell you, you know, God knows everything that's going to happen. All that. I don't buy into the predetermination stuff. I don't buy into that at all. The free will and yeah, if you know, if things are all predetermined, yeah, then, well, hey man, what the hell? Why are we killing all these people doing all these things? There are some tough questions to be answered, but
yeah.
If when you die and you just see it, it'd be like a perfect little cartoon drawing, like skit thing, you know, you die, and then, you know, the next frame you're standing in front of God or standing at the pearly gates and you're going, oh shit. like you had the realization that you were wrong. If he was that powerful, then he would be able to explain why. So I wouldn't, to me, that's, well, you know, it's something you cross that bridge when you get there, kind of thing.
But so an example of not being a believer, but then ending up at the pearly gates is, as an example, at the old storage facility company that I worked for, we left on a Saturday, came back on Monday. I found a little mouse inside the toilet, and he was just halfway up, and the rest of him was in the water. So he's probably in there for about a good day and a half, 2 days, just in the toilet. Now, most people would flush it. Ew, God, it's a mouse. And they would flush it and drown it and kill it out. I found a toilet tube, got the mouse in the toilet tube. The mouse wasn't moving, very calm, almost like it knew what I was doing. And I took it outside and let it go into the sun so it could dry off and everything, and it ran away. Now, who's better? The Christian who flushed the mouse down the toilet and drowned it, or the atheist who saved the mouse and let it go away, you know, let it run away and live?
Let's say the Christian would have flushed it down the toilet.
I'm just using that as an example. So if I'm in front of the pearly gates as an atheist, I would think God wouldn't be an a-hole and be like, well, you know what, just because you didn't believe in me, you know, nothing's good, you know, get the fuck out of here. Now you're going to go to hell.
See,
I would think God would be like, you saved one of my creatures, even though you didn't really believe in me.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you through because you saved a life.
Yeah. See, no, well, and that's where I kind of think, for me, I agree with you there in the sense that if the Bible teaches me that I need to seek knowledge and I need to learn and I need to educate myself, that goes, I want proof. I want to find evidence that there is proof out there. And so if I'm going to, you know, be sent to hell for seeking that knowledge or wanting proof or wanting verification, well, then that's the road I'm hoeing. But I think you're right. If you live life, a good life, even if you're unsure, especially the times, the world we live in. Yeah. That's, would you want to go to heaven if that God wouldn't accept you because, you know, you lived in a world that, you know, made it hard to believe, you know, I mean, and so, I don't know. There's a lot of the religious aspects and elements that I'm like, I don't know if I can get on board with this. But I just have a hard time saying that, man, one day this bang happened, the universe came about, and fucking voila, here we are, without any help from anything, whether that's one dude or whatever. But anyway, we are fucking far off on a tangent. What I can say is that if God knows everything, he would have known that the 4K copy of this looks like dog shit. And Scream Factory, what are we doing here? Is it a little sharper than the Blu-ray? Yes, but it's very bleached out and dark. So if anybody is thinking about upgrading the 4K, don't stick with your Blu-ray. It's just fine. I took the Blu-ray out, or I took the 4K out about 10 minutes in and switched over to the Blu-ray and was like, that's a nice picture. I'll watch that. So definitely don't worry about upgrading to 4K on this. You don't need to do that. But John, you had talked about some things that like, did you watch the interviews with John Carpenter where he's talking about how this was like his first low budget movie, or maybe even his only low budget movie, and how they had some things come about that I found were very interesting. But this was like his like, you know, his like Kubrick always wanted to do Eyes Wide Shut. I kind of wonder if Prince of Darkness, the way John Carpenter talked about it, if this was like that movie that he always wanted to do. And listening to interviews with them that are on this are just phenomenal. So did you watch those?
I watched a couple things, but I didn't, unless maybe those are new. I don't know if I have those or not on here. Because it's audio commentary. Well, new interviews with director John Carpenter and Alice Cooper. Theatrical trailer. I know that this is a 2-picture deal that he had with Alive Pictures. The other one was They Live.
Yeah.
And he was so sick of the Hollywood system. That's why he made the deal with Alive, because he had this is a total and complete control movie.
Yes. But it was also for him a low budget movie. And he mentions that in the interview in here. So yours says, because mine just says an interview with John Carpenter. And so I think it's probably same interviews.
I think I think it was about $3 million he used to make this movie, and then he got back like what, I forget what it made at the box office.
But it was a modest,
made like almost at least triple, if anything.
Well, that's what, you know, Hollywood doesn't understand these days, and unfortunately, you know, Blumhouse has gone to dog shit. But you know, what they started out with was their idea of, you know, $2 million movies, $5 million movies was the smartest thing that they could have possibly have done. Mm-hmm. And Hollywood is not understanding that you can make a great movie like Prince of Darkness and use, for the most part, real locations. You know, they had to build some of the sets, but use real locations and come up with a really interesting story for that amount of money.
Did yours have Horror's Hallowed Grounds on it?
That I did watch. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And had you ever met? I know we saw him at Creep IE. Do you remember seeing Sean Clark walk by?
I think
he was walking to the room, and I said, like, "Hey, there he is," and he's, you know, kind of stopped and waved. I wasn't going to bug him because he's always busy, but yeah, Sean Clark he is a really cool guy, and man, I am so jealous of his Horror's Hallowed Grounds, being able to go and see all these places, but yeah, they did. I mean, a little bit on USC, a little bit, you know, at one of the missions, I think San Fernando or San Gabriel mission. And
San Gabriel, I think it was, yeah.
Okay, and then some down in like a warehouse in Long Beach, and then that church, which, you know, is very cool, because I did not know, because that church looks just like any old church, and maybe this is ignorance in me, that church was built like in the 1920s by the Asian community, like Japanese people. That was their first like organized church in the United States. And it still stands today, not as a church, but it's like an arts center for like Asian arts. And so I think it's very cool that it's still, it might not be a church anymore, but it's still in that Asian community, you know, and it's kind of sad that so much of the church inside has been remodeled. It's sad for us as fans, you know, or, you know, people that have seen the Prince of Darkness. You know, in reality, it's good that it's still being purposed and used, you know, like as a theater and stuff. But I would have loved to have seen it, man. Like after they got done filming, that would have been cool.
Oh yeah, yeah, he does talk about, because he talks to one of the people that works there, and he also mentions that when during World War II, for the internment camps, when the Japanese were put in there, the black community took it over. And
Oh,
you know, yeah, and that they point out in the movie that, you know, there just aren't white people, there's Asians, there's black people, so it's a
yeah.
very multicultural film, and that he mentioned that they do screenings there at Prince of Darkness. So
Oh, that's cool. Oh man, that would be
yeah,
awesome to see
so
that.
they acknowledge it very much.
Yeah.
And yeah, because they also do the same thing for In the Mouth of Madness. The guy goes out and looks at the different places and of where that was shot too. So I like his stuff.
That's cool. Yeah, no, yeah, Sean's great. And yeah, that's you know, we're kind of driving by there on the way back from Hollywood that time. And I remember I mentioned, I was like, oh, you know, right over here, if we would have got off at that last exit, we could have gone and saw the church from Prince of Darkness.
I would still love to go see it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so maybe you know, next time you're in town, we'll have to try and make that happen. I would like to see that, and the is it the son of a bitch, Day of the Dead? Yeah, Day of the Dead. That, you know, the building. What was the shit? Too many zombie movies. The one that took place in 1984 that says, you know, July 4th, 1984.
Oh, Return of Living Dead.
Return of Living Dead. Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it'd be cool to go see that building too, which is fairly close to this. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of that that stuff is when I worked at Tower Records. I met these two guys, and I'm still friends with them, but they've been at Tower Records for a while, and they knew I was a movie fan and that I liked, you know, Terminator and Nemesis, and it was all shot in that big lot with all the tumbled over buildings and stuff. And they're like, oh yeah, we should go check it out after work. And so we drove out there, and it was gated, and they're like, well, here it is. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. And we sat there for a while, and I go, what are we doing? Are we going to get out? One of them looks at me and goes, no. And I'm like, why not? He goes, because the raping is going to begin right now. And I was like, what the fuck? And and then he just started laughing. So
you puckered up.
Like, what the hell? Like, I just met these guys. I had no idea about them at all. And then they ended up being in some of my short films for school and stuff. So it was they're like, yeah, we're fucking with you. But still, are we? Yeah. But it's so any last thoughts on Prince of Darkness then?
You know, so one of the things that John Carpenter talked about in the interview was how they did the scene of going through the hand through the mirror. Did you hear that story about how they needed you know, something for that trick to work? And so one of their did they say one of their cranes that they took all the
maybe I did see that interview.
Okay, what's the mercury?
It was all mercury.
And they poured it in this, and so that's why it looks so cool coming out of there. And then they had to put all the mercury back, like in this crane, like in the joint or wherever it was. I think that's hysterical. I love the ingenuity, but holy shit, if this was not like a lower budget independent film, man, that would have never flown. And this day and age, they would never get away with something like that, you know, as dangerous as that was. But I still think it's cool. It's such an amazing effect. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. And,
but anyways, oh, I'm sorry. And last thing, again, this is one of my favorite John Carpenter movies. I absolutely love it. And I'm done. I'll shut up. Sorry.
I definitely have to give it another chance. I'm definitely going to give it another chance. I gotta. Sometimes I gotta be like, you know what? Let me just turn my brain off and just enjoy the movie for what it is. But that being said, I did enjoy it. I did. With the way you guys were talking, it makes a lot more sense. So you guys opened my mind up a little bit more. So I thank you both for that. So
sure,
appreciate it.
Oh yeah,
but man,
I had no idea
I said I was done, but I lie. I lie a lot.
What you got?
I was just going to say Donald Pleasance, Victor Wong. I mean, the cast. Come on, The cast
Yeah.
alone, it's you know, so good.
Well, it's a John
Very-
Carpenter cast, you know. That's and what I like is also is he just doesn't have cast from people from the films that were hits, like Donald Pleasance. He has people from films that bombed. You know, he doesn't give up on the people from Big Trouble in Little China. They're still in his movies.
Yeah.
You know, and so I really like that. There are some creepy parts in this, though, like our guy who kind of looks like Tom Atkins is kind of stalking her. So that is a little weird with how his introduction is him just like lusting after her,
Watching
know.
her all the time.
Yeah, kind of being creepy, you know, weird, but you know that's you know what it is.
That was the sign of the times, man. Like if you wanted a girl, you went after you kind of like followed her around to see where she goes, and that wouldn't fly today, unfortunately.
No,
Well,
a girl,
unfortunately, because that's not cool.
But a girl tells you what her name is today, and you go, "I know." Yeah, she's gone.
Get
Yeah.
out of here, bro. Get out of here.
Yeah, it's just the music, the score is great. I have like 3 like versions of the score, you know, like the regular theatrical one, and then there's an extended one, then there's one that's even longer. I have like 100 different John Carpenter scores, but there's like 3 or 4 for each movie. And I think it's one of his I think it's very well directed. I think it's well edited. I like the acting in it. I hated the movie when I first saw it. I really didn't like it. But Cliff and I went to go see it in San Francisco. And we're like, this has got to be a new Michael Myers movie. It's called Prince of Darkness. It's got Donald Pleasance in it. It's John Carpenter. It's got to be Michael Myers. They're just not advertising it as one. And we went and it wasn't. And it was like, this movie sucks. All because of that. And I did not like this movie for a long time. And then all of a sudden one day it was like, my God, I love this film. This is awesome. This is one of my favorite Carpenter movies. So
sometimes when the expectations are set so high, or if you think a movie is going to be something and it's not, you know, for example, Saw X, I went in going like, man, this trailer looks like the best Saw movie of them all. And so I was a little let down. It's a phenomenal movie. I love the movie, but I was a little let down because it's not the best Saw movie ever. You know, and then there's, you know, other movies that like you go in and you think like, man, wait your turn, sir. You go in like The Substance. You go in to watch The Substance, not knowing what it is, and you get your socks blown off. So, you know, that's where I love going in being kind of ignorant walking into movies. When you have an expectation, it's hard to meet that. So I'm sorry. John, you up in the corner, you raised your hand?
Yes, sir. Can I go to the bathroom, sir? No. Saw X is my second favorite Saw movie. Saw 6 is my favorite, but Saw X is my second favorite.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll put the drug test in the mail today for you, John. We'll see about your results.
I love that film. I think that it is so good. So it's I loved it. It did.
Yeah. No,
it
Saw
did
X
not
is great.
fail me at all. So
I think it's my 4th favorite in the franchise after
okay,
1,
well,
2,
that's still
3.
pretty good. That's still pretty good. So then our next movie then is mostly, this is a pretty religious film, you know, when, you know, so it's there's no science in this at all. It's all cosmic horror, H.P. Lovecraft, Stephen King, and a lot of religion. So as you can see from Donald's face. So what did you guys...
I do not have the Scream Factory version. This is the original version. So no Shout Factory version for me.
Yeah. Not part
so
of the cool.
You missed out on the new 4K scan of the original film Elements then. That's what it says on the back.
I was on a budget, man.
So I heard a story about this. So the guy who I guess worked on the audio commentary for this asked John Carpenter, and Sandy King is there, his wife, and he goes, "Do you have any of the Sutter Kane books left? Could I get one. And Carpenter was like, how much you want to buy it for?
Oh.
And Sandy King is like, just give it to him. You have like an entire like closet filled with them. Just give him one of the books. And I guess the guy got one eventually, but Carpenter was willing to do it if you paid him for it. So
man, I want a Sutter Kane book.
You know how cool that would be? Even if it's like blank pages or just a bunch of gibberish, just to have it sitting on your shelf.
Yeah.
So now, what did you think of this basically being Stephen King? Did that affect you at all? Did you like that? And they do mention Stephen King, so he's in that universe.
Well, technically, Sutter Kane is better than Stephen King, according to the So,
but
Sutter and he has Kane, effects on Stephen people.
King. I mean, it's kind of obvious what the writer is doing here, you know.
Oh yeah, SK. Yeah.
Yeah. So did you like that? Did you feel that they shouldn't have done that? Should Stephen King have even been a part of this? What do you think?
I thought it was a cool element. You know, the idea that if you're going to make the most popular author in the world, and you know, you have to set a standard. And if your standard is Stephen King, and you're saying, oh, this guy is way better than Stephen King, you're really showing the audience how great this guy is to be that much better than Stephen King. You know, I mean, Stephen King, you know, one of the greatest, if not the greatest author, you know, in you know, the last 100 years.
I got 2 shelves just with nothing but Stephen King.
Nice. Yeah. And I have Stephen King, even though like on a personal level, sometimes I just wish he would shut up.
He does. But, he really does.
But I love his writing. But here's the thing. Sometimes when you have that much of an opinion, or your brain works that much, or things are going on, that's when the good shit comes out. And if you can write like this, like rock stars, so many, like you look at like Guns N' Roses, all their great music came out when they were on drugs. They're off drugs. They can't get a fucking album to save their life now. So he can do all this writing without being on drugs that we know of. Like, more power to him, you know, to come up with all these different stories. You know, so I mean, if you're going to say, I do love the fact that they mentioned Stephen King in it, and I feel like John Carpenter, even if it's, you know, even if that's something that they could have just said, you were going to say Stephen King, because what are you going to do? I do feel like John Carpenter must have reached out to Stephen King and said, like, this is what we're doing. I want your blessing. And I would imagine Stephen King probably gave him a blessing on it, but that I don't know.
I would think that I would say that you are correct on that, because I've watched or listened to like behind the scenes or audio commentaries where they do mention an actress, and the person will always say, oh yeah, we reached out to so-and-so. She said no. We reached out to so-and-so. She said no. Then we reached out to Jessica Alba and she said yes. And that's why we used. So just to use their name in a movie, you have to get their permission, and you may have to go through a few people. And since Carpenter did do Christine, and it's considered one of the best Stephen King movies, you know, he's probably like, yeah, go ahead. You know, it's because he's said Clive Barker is even a better writer than he is. It's on Clive Barker's books. You know, it says he's a better writer than I am, Stephen King.
Wow.
So it doesn't sound like he's got this ego of I'm the greatest writer in the world, but I find it interesting that Sutter Kane does say, I am now God. Yeah. And that this becomes a very creation based, you know, I'm writing this book, I'm creating these people, I'm creating these buildings and these towns, and I'm going to dictate to you, hence no free will. I'm going to dictate what you do because you're going to do it because I'm writing it.
Yeah.
But yet he thinks he does have free will. You know, the Sam Neill.
Yeah. No, and that is a very interesting, you know, the conversation of you know, talking about, you know, the religious aspects, you know, in the other movies of, you know, would you have free will, or, you know, is God knowing everything's going to happen or whatever? So for them to dive into that in this was very interesting, you know, especially, you know, you show Sutter Kane in that big cathedral thing, you know, they're, you know, like being God and creating and just dictating what's going to happen. So, I mean, it is definitely interesting take on religion, you know, and the power of God, you know, there.
Mhm.
I'll be completely honest. Out of the three movies, I still enjoy this movie. I'm glad I have it. It's my least favorite of the three, because I feel like at times there's some stuff that's like, um, is this happening for real? Is this not happening? And you know, movies where I kind of have to go, I want to be able to figure them out, but it needs to be really clean. And I felt like at times there might have been too much going on. Like the things with the painting changing and stuff, I thought was cool. But you know, there was so many different things going on, that maybe I don't have the mental fortitude to sit and care that much about a movie to, you know, notice every single little thing that's going on in this, because this does flip-flop a lot between you know, them trying to tell you, oh, this is reality or it's not reality, it's in his mind or it's in the book or wherever. There's a lot going on. So I mean, the writing is great. Kudos, you know, on you know, the writing on this. But I think maybe at times they do a little too much.
Donald, what do you think?
I mean, this one, I gotta say, this one leans more. I mean, it's based on Lovecraft's writing, so it's probably the most Lovecraft you're ever going to see out of the Apocalypse trilogy. I enjoyed the movie. I liked the aspect of, you know, basically, it's kind of meta at the very end. I
Yeah.
mean, basically he's watching the movie, and if you actually look closer at the poster, when he goes to the movie theater, you see John Carpenter's name on the poster.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, I didn't know if you caught that or not, but on the card it says John Carpenter presents, and then it's in the mouth of madness. So it's kind of like you're watching the movie. He's watching the movie that you just watched, and then now, you know, and then all of a sudden, the whole Sutter Kane being God. I did like the one part. He's like, did I ever tell you my favorite color is blue? And then he wakes up and he sees everything is blue, and then he screams, and then he wakes up, in reality.
Yeah.
The
Reality.
old woman with the blue hair that's sitting next to him is so amazing. Just her as he's screaming, she's just like patting herself and stuff. And every time I watch it, she cracks me up whenever I see it. I think a lot of this could be in his head until he ends it. And once again, what a great cast. David Warner, you got John Glover, Charlton Heston, who Carpenter wanted for Escape from LA, but he didn't want to do it, which I thought would have been great. As the president. I mean, what a nightmare for liberals to have Charlton Heston as the president. I mean, that would have been, especially at that time. And then, so I think once David Warner leaves the cell or his padded room, I think that's all real. I think the end of the world does happen. I think that people are mutating. I think that it's exactly what Sutter Kane set up, and that it is happening. So I love it. It would be in my top 5 for one of my all-time favorite Carpenter movies. To kind of go off of Phillip, it would be my second favorite one. So Prince of Darkness would actually be my least favorite out of the 3, even though I love them all. Because I do love the meta aspect of it. I love the Sutter Kane, Stephen King stuff. I love time loops. I love all that, of him just driving in the town. They did it in Nightmare 4, just over and over and over again, trying to get out of this loop. And I just love stuff like that. I just, that's what I love about being an atheist is I love religion. I love watching it on screen and reading about it. And so when I see this type of stuff, it doesn't bother me because I find it so interesting and fascinating that somebody like John Carpenter, who is a very smart man, can make something like this or Prince of Darkness. And once again, I don't think making it insulting. I think that it's incorporating into the show. I mean, or to the movie. Look who they got to play the lead. This guy played Damien. He was in Omen 3. He was trying to take over the world, and Christ beat him to it. But he got the guy who played the devil's son to be in this. So it's like I think this is an amazing movie. I absolutely love, and the soundtrack is great. All those guitars and I love it all. I love it all.
The one thing I will say is when I first heard it, I was like, "Is this Metallica?" Because that's exactly what first thing that comes to my head is like, "This sounds like Metallica. Something Metallica would write." You know what I mean? So I enjoyed the soundtrack.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it does have a little bit of a Metallica twang to it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the one, and I guess almost maybe it's perfect that it never happens, but the girl that what's her what was her name? The one that went with him.
The actress Julia Carmen.
Well, what was her name? Her name was in the movie.
Something.
They went by her last name.
Styles.
Styles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So Styles. So like she's like, trying to hook up with him and telling him like, well, that's because that's what he wrote. I have to do it. And he's like, no, and it has to go away. I'm just like, man, if you got a girl like that, like, bro, go with the flow, homeboy. Like this hot chick is on you because she said she has to. So that was kind of interesting.
But he's still thinking it's all fake, that this is all a big ruse, that this is none of this is real, and maybe that it's, I don't know, if I fuck her, then that's playing into the whole thing, and so I better stay from because I'm on the clock.
Let's be completely honest. If we're all single and we're in a hotel room with that girl and she is coming on to you, I don't care what the circumstances are. 90% of guys are going to be like, let's go, let's do it. It would take mighty the strong man of with his faith or something to turn that down. But it's
I am offended, sir, that you would even think that. How dare you in this modern society today? How dare you think that a boy would do those type of things?
I have been shunned. But no, that I do like. So with the fact that she was clearly the pawn of Sutter Kane, trying to get into his head and or pants or whatever, but then she goes to Sutter Kane and she looks at Sutter Kane the same way, like she stands there and you're like, oh, is she going to make out with Sutter Kane now? But really it's almost like she is looking at her God. But I wonder, so much about this with him controlling and this, this apocalypse or whatever happening at the end with the world going crazy and stuff. Again, this is maybe like, hey, if that hand did make it out of the mirror and took over the world, I mean, this is exactly one of the ways that, you would worry about, like, Satan or the forces of evil, taking over. Because clearly Sutter Kane can't be representing God as we know it. He has to be the Antichrist. So, for doing what he's doing. So I there's a lot. This is another fun one that you can talk about a lot. And that's, I guess, with all three of these movies, maybe more so The Thing and In the Mouth of Madness. There's so much to talk about and decide what's really going on. I think for the most part, Prince of Darkness, we kind of know what's going on, but In the Mouth of Madness, you just don't fucking know, what's real and what's not. And you think the beginning is real, and you're like, okay, he's learning about this Sutter Kane guy because Sutter Kane's editor or manager, agent, whatever he was, that comes through with the axe in the restaurant.
Love
like
it.
That's and then he's in the office with the girl and Styles and the guy, and then come at the end, you find out the girl never existed, because Kane wrote her out or whatever. So at what point was it, was it his madness? And was he just crazy the entire time? And that's kind of where I'm at with it, that maybe dude never was a rioter. Maybe he never was any of this shit. He was just batshit crazy, and apocalypse happened, and he got out of jail, and he's living in his own fucking world.
Maybe Sutter Kane never existed from the get-go. And it's just it's all basically the world he's making up in his head while he's in the nut ward. I'm sorry, can we say that anymore?
The network?
The nut ward.
The
nut ward. Oh, yeah, I think the nuts will be fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, I and it's, like the ending of the thing, I don't think it's as important. Like, who is the thing is what happens when the people show up and take those frozen bodies away. Those bodies are going to be taken to a place that's warm and thawed out, and I don't think it matters who's the thing. It's going to infect the world. And then for Prince of Darkness, if you go off the trailer, he does touch the mirror and it explodes. So, and then for this one, okay, if it's all in his head, great. He's just in his padded cell and it's just all in his head. But if it's not, the end of the world has happened.
Yeah.
So it's because I guess that they had test screened Prince of Darkness, and Carpenter didn't like that he touches the mirror. So they cut it right before he touches it.
Yeah.
And because he wanted to leave it up to you on what, leave it kind of on like
up to your interpretation at that point.
Yeah. So by him doing that,
I actually like that.
Well, so do I. But by doing that,
I love when I can say what actually happened at that point. And it's like, well, maybe he touched. Did he touch the mirror at the end of Prince of Darkness? And he's, he just left a big handprint on the mirror, or did he actually reach in and grab his girlfriend, or he becomes the one that gets becomes the new evil guy or something? Who knows?
Yeah, I love the idea that in this, and the first time you see her, at least for me, I'm like, oh shit, the old lady, Frances Bay, Mrs. Pickman, from like Happy Gilmore and other things. Was she looks so much, I don't think she was, but she reminds me so much of the Where's the Beef lady from the Wendy's commercials. But but anyways, the lady that works at the the hotel there, the desk, and then later you see like her husband like naked on the floor, handcuffed to her leg. Like, what was that all about? I completely don't understand the reference there of him being naked on the floor, cuffed to her ankle. But Bernie Casey, who from Revenge of the Nerds was, and it wasn't the Omega, because it was Lambda, and Omega Mu, whatever. Remember when they went to the black fraternity, and then the main guy at the black fraternity was there, and then they're at the party, and they're saying, oh, he's gonna love us, whatever his name was, but he's like the head of the fraternity there, and you have the black fraternity in Revenge of the Nerds. So I loved seeing him in this movie too. It was very cool. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Is the black guy from Prince of Darkness?
Yeah. No, in The Mouth of Madness.
He was the one at the beginning, right?
Yeah,
at the beginning
when he's sitting there at the restaurant.
The guy who gives him the job. Who gives Sam Neill the job? Who says, I want you to come work for me.
Yeah, that wants to hire him. Yeah. And Sam Neill's like, I work
at the very beginning when he was interrogating that one guy, he's like, we found pictures and all that of your supposed stuff that got burned in a fire, and he's the one that's sitting on the other side of the desk like, watching this dude do his job.
Yeah, I now remember him. Yeah, that's a Carpenter regular too. The guy who was being interrogated.
Wasn't he in Prince of Darkness as well?
Yeah. He's in a bunch of Carpenter movies. Yeah.
Oh, what? Hang on a second. Let me get this over here. So, pull that picture up real quick if you can, John.
Oh.
You can see there he is on the left. He, as the head of the black fraternity there in Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh, okay. God, I haven't seen Revenge of the Nerds in like 30 years or whatever. Okay.
That's the first thing when I saw him, I was like, oh fuck, Revenge of the Nerds. But anyways, no, he's great. He's great. Love that actor.
That's funny. Yeah, Carpenter he's always had good casting choices. So, even though he had nothing to do with it, but Chevy Chase as the Invisible Man and Memoirs of the Invisible Man was good casting. So, I don't, and Kurt Russell as Elvis was good casting too.
Oh, Bubba Hotep. Is that what you're talking?
No, John Carpenter. After he did Halloween, he made a couple TV movies, or probably maybe after the fall.
Oh, that's right. The actual Elvis,
the Elvis TV movie where Kurt Russell plays Elvis.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah. So he's, even if he may not be involved directly in the casting, he always seems to have good casting in his films. So
that's right. Yeah. No, Bubba Hotep was what's his name?
That's Bruce Campbell.
Right? Yeah, Bruce Campbell. Yeah.
Who I thought for the longest time was the guy on the poster for In the Mouth of Madness. Because to me, that doesn't look like Sam Neill, but he does have the mole. And Sam Neill has the mole.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that is supposed to be Sam Neill, but it looks more like Bruce Campbell. And I knew my bucket list is to work with Sam Neill because when I was a kid, my mom took me to go see The Final Conflict, which was Omen 3. And I just became just a massive Sam Neill fan. I didn't know his name. I just knew him as Damien. And then when video cassettes were around, he was a movie called Enigma, which is about the secret codes for the submarines.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, that's Damien. That's Damien. I want to watch that movie. So for a long time, I had no idea what his name was. And then he became, then I learned it and everything. Every time I see him, I just think of Damien. I think of The Omen and just how perfectly cast he was in that. I would love to work with him. He's a bucket list actor for me because of that.
I would love to have been the guy to direct the new Omen movie because God damn it, man. You had all that budget and everything to make a great Omen movie and the worst Omen.
Oh, the first Omen. The crap.
But
Omen.
Man, no, but I'm glad at least because of that coming out, I went back and watched all the Omen movies and I enjoy them all. I'm a fan of the entire franchise.
Yeah.
The first Omen is just, God dang it. It looks all pretty and nice, but like the story, geez Louise.
No, it is horrible. And I wonder with Sam Neill's casting in this, because he did a film 1981. It's Australian called The Possession, which is H.P. Lovecraft. It's a cosmic horror movie. It's a really early cosmic horror film. And the guy who did Smile and Smile 2 is remaking it. And so I wonder if Carpenter brought him in because of that, since this is so very Lovecraft cosmic horror, kind of having that connection there. So you got, the Omen, you got the possession. So, or not. Maybe he didn't. Maybe it has nothing to do with it. So, so should we wrap up this part and move on to our 3 picks that we could suggest to people to watch for Halloween?
I think that'd be a great idea, unless Donald,
do you have anything to say? And I don't want to leave you out.
We pretty much covered everything.
Okay.
So,
all right.
I enjoyed this trilogy. I think it's definitely not. You can tell it's not like a planned trilogy or anything, but it's all kind of like the same. It's all cosmic horror. It's all HP Lovecraft adjacent ish.
Yeah.
Some of them are, but it's good. I like them.
Well, and I think, about John Carpenter, you watch movies and you're like, that's a John Carpenter movie. They have that feel. They have that music. They have like a lot of the same cast. They just have that same vibe, and all these do. And so many of his other movies, have that same kind of feel. Even though, I mean, like, yeah, The Thing taking place, in the Arctic and the snow and everything, versus Prince of Darkness at a church in downtown LA, but they still have that same kind of feel. Kind of like what I'm, one of the things that I appreciate about Ty West is, man, when you watch a Ty West movie, he really makes women out to be even just a regular girl. He makes them out to be these glamorous, larger than life, like goddesses, just the way he shoots and everything. And so, directors that definitely have that feel, like Ty West, definitely, it's a Ty West movie. John Carpenter, it's one of his movies, even though they can be totally different. So, yeah, I'm happy to talk about John Carpenter movies any day of the week. But
shouldn't that, and this is what I think with, and why I think a lot of women don't go to movies these days, why these things bomb, the Marvels, Charlie's Angels, and all of that. Men, I think, want to worship women. Men want women to kick ass. Men want women to be intelligent. Men want women to be able to sit in the car and have the man change the tire. But at the same time, honey, you sit in the car, I'll change it. We love women. We respect women. We want women to be in these movies. And like what Ty West does, with like X and, Maxine and all that stuff, we want these women, but Hollywood has no idea how to portray them.
Yeah.
That's why we love Ripley and Sarah Connor and stuff, because they're awesome women.
Yeah. Well, I just watched The House of the Devil. Oh my God, man. I mean, what a home run with that. And he, even before the the new trilogy there, what was the other one Ty West did that was so good? The Innkeepers. Oh my God, so good. So yeah, John's out of here. He quit on us.
I want my coffee.
But
I got a Keurig, so I wanted to make some coffee quickly.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I the reference to it was that, yeah, I love when directors have a style, and like Ty West, women just look glamorous in his movies. It's like a glaring thing, with Ty West movies, and John Carpenter, it's just the sound, the vibe, the ominous kind of feeling in the room and stuff. So I love it. I think he did great with these three movies. And hey, at least even if they bomb or whatever, we still have them to enjoy and appreciate today. That's freaking awesome.
Well, yeah, because if you look at how he does Julia Carmen, strong, she's no wimp. You know?
Yeah.
And even the the women that are in Prince of Darkness, they ain't no wimps.
Yeah.
And of course the Thing is all guys, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, and that's I mean, that my point was not necessarily more, that about strong leads or powerful women or anything. It was more just about directorial stylings. But yeah, no, John Carpenter. I mean, you look at Laurie Strode. I mean, you have these, these women, that are fine, and that's where I think a good director understands that. I mean, I can't think of a better franchise than Hostel. Hostel 1 and 2, amazing, absolutely amazing movies. Hostel 3, like, are you kidding me? I'm supposed to root for these guys? Did we forget? We're not even going to a hostel. We're going to a strip club on the outskirts of Vegas. That's not even a hostel. And it's three perverted dudes dragging their one friend. Like, who cares? So, having, I think the point is we're not afraid of strong female leads, you know, and Hollywood wants to make it seem like we are. Well, we're not. We embrace them.
Yeah, completely. Phillip, you are the guest. I think how we should do this, you guys agree or disagree. Phillip could do one, then maybe Donald could do one, I'll do one, Phillip could do one, and we'll do it that way instead of showing all three at once. Is that okay? Everybody think that works?
Your call, whatever you want to do. Okay. Well, then I will start with another strong female lead, one of my favorite movies of all time. This is a perfect movie to watch at Halloween. And I just watched it a few days ago. I went to the castle or the mansion a few days ago, and I went to the college a few days ago, and that's Hell Night. Absolutely love Hell Night. It's a perfect Halloween time movie. Linda Blair's phenomenal. This is my favorite Linda Blair movie. I know The Exorcist is one of the greatest horror movies of all time, but I am more of a fan of Hell Night than I am The Exorcist. I just absolutely love this type of movie. The Exorcist is great, but this type of movie, because you get so many movies where kids are partying someplace. We don't know why. They're just picked there to go party. It happens all the time. Here, there is a bona fide reason that they're in this house. It's part of their college hazing initiations. They have to spend the night in this haunted house. We get a good story of the killer and the backstory, what's going on with them, and the stories about the college and the mansion, all these things. It's all explained, and it's fun. And it's like creepy as hell, like what's going on in the house. And I absolutely love it. I just, one of these days I will have either this or my Hell Night poster signed by Linda Blair. Unless she like yells at me, because sometimes she doesn't like to sign certain things. And I hope Hell Night is not one of them, because this is one of my top 5 favorite horror movies of all time. Who brought out the Blu-ray? This is your boys.
All right. And is there anything for the special features that says like interview with Linda Blair or anything like that on there to show that she'll talk about the movie?
Well, it just says interviews and commentary with cast and crew. Oh, including actress Linda Blair, director Tom DeSimone, and producer Bruce Cohn, Curtis, and more. TV spots and theatrical trailer. So I've not watched the special. I don't, in general, I don't watch much special features unless we're going to do something like this, where I would watch, some of the John Carpenter movie special features or something. So, but this is maybe I should pop those special features.
But because she did the interview on that, that means that she's okay with the movie. If she's not interviewed, she probably doesn't, she's like, But if she's being...
You're probably correct about that. I believe you. Yeah. I just know there's some, and like, if you take an Exorcist poster to Linda Blair and it's already signed by, what's her name? The other girl who, the other girl from The Exorcist. If,
the one who does the demon.
Yes. If her autograph is on there, Linda Blair won't sign it. She'll say, sorry, fuck off. Man. They don't even.
I'm in. Look up.
I can't believe
I'm blanking on her name, because I worked with her.
Eileen Dietz.
Yes,
Eileen Dietz. Yeah. If Linda Blair sees Eileen Dietz on there, she will not sign it. So you got to get Linda Blair first, then you get Eileen Dietz.
Yeah. That's the game plan.
Yeah. So, but luckily, Eileen Dietz was not in this.
So there you go. Yeah. All right, Donald, what about you? What you got?
All right, well, I have you guys are going to be doing the movies. I'm going to do a book and 2 video games. I do have a honorable mention for the video games, which I'll show at the end. But the first, I'm going to show the book. Now, both of you both like Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Do you like zombies?
Yeah.
I got Death Troopers. Star Wars with zombies.
Oh,
Huh.
sweet.
Wow.
I like that cover.
This cover is awesome. I mean, it's a hook going through the Death Troopers, and there's blood on the thing. So Disney would never approve of this now.
Man, that would be if I could take over for Kathleen Kennedy, kick her out, never let her work again, and I take over Star Wars. That'd be the first thing we would make.
There you
And
go.
then
There you go.
Fucking zombie of Han Solo would come back and fuck everybody up.
There, yeah.
And this is Han Solo and Chewie are in this book. So
Wow.
this is I don't know where in the time. Hold on, man. Let me see if I can find. They usually have a timeline on this, and I'm not sure.
What's the title of it? What's the specific title?
Death Trooper.
Death Trooper.
Death Troopers.
Yeah. Mm.
This would be. It's supposed to be like 10 years before A New Hope. So it's around that timeline. So this is technically
in between The Acolyte and A New Hope.
The Acolyte doesn't count, man. We don't talk about Disney garbage. This is the extended universe, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do a little rant here. From 2013 back, we have the extended universe, which is the EU for short. When Disney got a hold of it, they changed it to Legends, and that banner ticks me off every time I see it. It's like,
so that
this
means
is not Legends.
Not
this is canon. I don't care what anyone says. So
Kathleen Kennedy, there are no sources to take from. That's why I
don't care what Kathleen Kennedy says. Okay. But this, it's only 271 pages. It's very short read. I think I read it in like 2 days. There is a prequel to this called Red Harvest. I wouldn't recommend it.
I do like that book though. That could be one to for me to pick up at some point. So
yeah. I mean, it's good. I recommend it, and it's very. The thing I like about it is very claustrophobic. Like you feel like when you're in these characters' heads, you're like, what's going to happen? They hear a sound in the darkness. From what I remember, I forget what the story is. I think they find an abandoned a ship out drifting around in space, and they're wondering what happened. What happened to all the survivors? No one's responding. So they send the crew on there to check it out, and chaos erupts from there. So I definitely recommend it.
It's like Alien, but with zombie aliens.
That are
something like that.
Yeah, zombie stormtroopers instead of aliens.
Zombie stormtroopers. There you go.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah, $10.59 on Amazon Prime right now, although it's got the different artwork. The one with the artwork that you have is out of stock, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah, you can get Red Harvest for $7.99, but
yeah, that's the prequel to this. I mean, if you, I can't recommend it.
It's. I mean, the artwork they have here is still pretty cool. I don't know if you want to share that at all or not, John. Entirely up to you. But there it is. So you can get that artwork there for $10.59.
That's not terrible.
No, I think yours is better. But no, that's kind of
cool.
So
it pretty much tells you what it is. That there are zombie stormtroopers. So it's right there. I like them both, but I prefer the one on Donald's book.
Yeah, because when you see the cover, you don't even know it's zombies unless you read the back. Yeah. And I don't even think they even say it's zombies. I think that they just say it's no, they just say, and horrific disease so lethal that within hours all the purge dies in ways too hideous to imagine.
Mm.
So the purge is, I guess, the ship that they're on.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll be keeping an eye out at the when I'm walking through bookstores. I'll have to keep an eye out for that. That'd be cool to read.
There you go.
Okay. So then my pick is in my I think it's the first video I did for the 31 like remake sequels type video that I made. I said that for a remake, Sorority Row is one of my all-time favorite remakes, and because I think that it's the attitude with the girls, the way that they treat each other is just so freaking awesome, just like in the first remake for Black Christmas. So I'm going old school, and I did mention this, and I'm going the House on Sorority Row, the original.
Oh yeah. Dude,
So,
I think I got that. Do I got that one? House on Bones, House on Straw Hill, House on Edge of the Park. Oh, I don't have that. House on Edge of, yeah.
yeah, it's good. Music is by Richard Band, so but like that, but it's good. I remember seeing it in the theater. So, yeah. So if you are interested in what the original is, check this out, and then if you like it, watch the remake.
I think, man, I think I've seen that. I think, but good choice there, sir.
Thank you.
And now I'm like, man, I should have, rather than just going with movies. Why did it not occur to me when we're talking about books to share like the Halloween Night, is one of them, which I already kind of shared, but these John Carpenter Halloween Tales from a Halloween Night comic books. And now the cool thing about this one and the other one I have, this is limited edition artwork that you can only get at Golden Apple Comics the day of the John Carpenter signing. All the other books, I wonder if it has a picture of the alternate artwork, but you would not be able to just buy this version in the store. You would have to buy it signed from somebody online. But these are pretty cool. But I mentioned that already in this video. So I for now I'll stick with my movies. And John, we talked about another movie similar to this earlier, but I don't know how it gets any more Halloween than the Funhouse.
Yes, that's
instead of the Funhouse Massacre, but the actual classic, the Funhouse, where the kids go to this like carnival and go into the Funhouse and kind of what do they get locked in there or something, and then they kind of witness the people that work at the carnival like doing bad things and stuff, and then you're at the Funhouse and they have to escape and get out of there and everything. But very, very fun movie. It's been a couple years since I've seen it. I need to watch this again. But classic Halloween goodness right here. And this is man, I'm on a Scream Factory roll today, man.
Yeah, and that's
So,
they got
there you
the I'm surprised with some movies that they just never did like direct to video sequels or something, because they call the killer in that one the Barker. So why would you want to bring the Barker back? He's really cool looking with the hands. He's got that kind of split head, and I'm just surprised. I mean, you just have a different group of people go to the Funhouse, and they meet up at the Barker.
Yeah, and I mean, if it's like one of those traveling carnival, traveling circus kind of things, like, yeah, it can be in a different city, different town, whatever. Yeah, I mean, you could do stuff with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and you know who was the Barker? Is he the same? Is that the same Kevin Conway?
Batman?
Mercury Rising, Invincible, Gettysburg. Or was that Kevin Conroy that was Batman?
Kevin Conroy is Batman.
Okay. So yeah. Oh, but he was in Lawnmower Man 2. This guy's been in all kinds of stuff. But anyways, we recognize very recognizable actor there in Kevin Conway, who was the Barker. So but love that movie. love it, and it deserves, I mean, all the love and more that it gets. It's a great movie, perfect for Halloween time.
I think so too. Good pick. All right, Donald, what you got?
All right, so we're gonna go with a video game this time. Now I decided to go. Let's pick an old, like an older stuff, like a retro game, and then we're gonna go with a newer suit. Now, funny story. When we get to the old new one, I'll get to that when we get there. But my pick for the first one is Castlevania 4.
Oh, yeah, that's a nice box you got there. Shit. Is that a reprint box or is that the original box?
Yeah, it's a reprint box, unfortunately.
Still, who cares? It looks great.
That's the original cartridge.
Nice.
So, John, are you familiar with the Castlevania games?
I
Phil?
mean, I know of them, but that's about it. I've never played them, but I know of them.
Okay, so basically, you're playing as a vampire hunter named Simon Belmont. You are on your quest to destroy Dracula. And you're going through and you're fighting all the monsters. You're fighting werewolves and zombies and what else? What's the frick? The girl with the snakes on the hair that turns into stone.
Medusa.
Yeah, Medusa. You fight her. You fight mummies. It's all kinds of stuff. It's really cool. Definitely a great game to play, and I've never beat it. Unfortunately, I've gotten pretty far, but I've never beaten. This is one of the games I'm determined one day to beat this game.
Is that Castlevania 4?
It's Super Castlevania 4. It's actually a remake of the first game. Back then, they didn't do things like they didn't like they just kept the numbers going. So I guess it's technically a remake of the first Castlevania.
Yeah, it's funny. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, basically, it's just they just updated some stuff. They added some new stuff to it. That's why I think that it's different enough, but it's not. It's technically Castlevania 1, but they just decided to call it 4 because hey, everyone already has Castlevania 1 apparently.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna have to go in my garage and dig. I don't know if I have that one or not, but I have thousands of retro games in my garage, and but I've never played 90% of them. I just collected them when you could find them dirt cheap at garage sales and thrift stores and stuff.
Yeah.
So
unfortunately, you can't find them cheap anymore. I mean, I paid $40-some for it.
Oh, yeah. See, and that's where I'm just getting my eBay store going again. And I just started with the movies, but the video games are coming. Because I mean, I have things from Atari, ColecoVision, the original Nintendo, Super Nintendo, N64, Sega Genesis, Sega Master System. I mean, like, if there's an old school video game console, I fucking got it. And I got hundreds of games for each in my garage. So
nice.
They're all in giant tubs out there that I have to go through. But I keep my GameCube over here because I love me some Mario Party and Mario Kart and Tiger Woods on GameCube.
There you go.
Anyways, Castlevania, very badass, and that is perfect for Halloween with all the different monsters definitely. And everything. Yeah.
I mean, it's monster. I mean, like I said, the main. This was before when Dracula was the final boss. Later on, they made the Grim Reaper the final boss for a couple games, and then they went back to being. They took it back to being Dracula.
It's got to be Dracula, right? I mean, he's the ultimate.
I mean, come on. I mean, I guess throughout all the games, like the Grim Reaper was always his second in command. But then they took a couple games where they just made the Grim Reaper the bad guy. I don't even know if Dracula was in those games or not, but it is what it is. I mean, it's got to be Dracula. I mean, you think of horror, you think of Halloween. What's the first thing you're gonna think of? Dracula, man. Come on.
Yeah. Yep.
I think of Barbie.
You think of what?
Barbie.
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 You gotta say it like Cool Duder. Barbie.
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 All right. This is what I got.
Barbie?
No Barbie over here. This is a movie that has a wrestler in it, and I love the first one, but not the second one. And that is Kane in See No Evil.
Ah, haha.
This is awesome. It all takes place in an abandoned hotel that these basically like underaged youths who've gotten in trouble to get out of, like, you know, whatever they've done. They have to go clean out the hotel, and of course Kane is in there. His character is in there killing everybody. This is directed by Gregory Dark, who is a porn director. And like legitimate porn. And I thought that he did a great job directing this. One of the things that I thought was awesome with this is it's kind of like Jaws in a way, is whenever there are flies in the room, that's when there's going to be somebody killed, because flies are following him around. Do they give his name? I forget. It's been a long time since I've seen this. Jacob Goodnight is his name. So whenever Jacob Goodnight is around, you see the flies first. So it's kind of like the barrels in Jaws. So if you see the barrels, you know the shark is there. If you see the flies, you know that Jacob is there. And I really like this a lot. I thought this had a great soundtrack. It was well directed. It looked really nice. Yeah. So I highly recommend See No Evil, but I was disappointed with the sequel. See No Evil 2. I was not as big of a fan.
Kane in the second one?
I want.
Or did they do somebody else?
I want to say yes to that. It's the Sosha sisters who did it, and Daniel Harris is in it. Yeah, because they take his body at the end of this film, bring it to a morgue, and then he wakes up at the morgue and starts killing everybody. So yeah, so I'm pretty sure he's back. I'm pretty sure. I own it just because it's a sequel, but yeah, it's really good. So
I'm guilty of that kind of stuff too, of buying movies because they're in a franchise, even though you know they're gonna suck.
I'm the same way.
I thought I had that, but I guess I don't. Maybe we've talked about that movie before or something. I thought I had it, but I don't. I was just looking to see.
Yeah, it's got a good score. It's Tyler Bates, who's done a ton of stuff, including stuff like Walking Dead and some other movies and TV shows. But yeah, it's got to be Lionsgate. Yeah, Jason Constantine is one of the producers on it. So it's Lionsgate.
Yeah,
but yeah, great movie. If you guys haven't seen it, really good.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that's me.
For my third item over here, I do want to give honorable mention, because if I had them, I would share them as one, but I had lent them to my sister-in-law, and that is the two movies, The Houses October Built 1 and 2, which are two of my all-time favorite Halloween movies. If you're into the people going to the, you know, the Hell House LLC, those type of movies, Houses October Built, phenomenal, and very, very similar to my pick here, Haunt. Absolutely freaking love this movie. People going to the haunted house. This is more of a clean, polished version of you know, The Houses October Built, where it's a nicer kind of like well-built constructed haunt, where the Houses October Built, man, some of those backwood you know, kind of, you know, farms that they've turned into the haunts are sketchy as shit. But this absolutely amazing. And you know, hey, I mean, I was gonna say if Eli Roth would put his name on it, that means it's got to be good. But now I don't know about all that. But but anyways, Haunt is phenomenal. If anybody has not seen Haunt, what are you waiting for? You gotta check it out.
I think I've seen it. I think I own it. I think. I think I've seen it. I think
You are kidding, right?
No, I think I have it over there. I do have a movie called Haunt, but I don't know if it's that one. And I know I've seen a movie called Haunt, which is that one, but I don't know if it's that. Rude.
Oh, man,
Rude.
And man, if you have not seen Haunt, I'm out of here. I could accept that somebody maybe hasn't seen Houses October Built 1 or 2, especially the sequel, because 1 you could watch for free on Amazon. 2 is harder to find.
Well, I got the first one here. I don't have the second one though.
Okay. Have you seen them both?
No, I have not.
Oh.
But let me see. What Haunt do I own? It should be.
I own the sequel, but I don't have the first one. That's the only reason I haven't watched it, because I do want to watch them both.
Don't watch the sequel until you've watched the first.
That's why I said I have the sequel, but I'm very anti watching movies out of order. Like I'm the same way with games.
Okay, so if you watch the sequel, the first 10 minutes of the sequel are explaining the first one. So don't fucking watch. It's funny, I had the sequel for like a couple of years before I ever had the first one. So, but I recently bought it. But if you want to see them now, the first Houses October Built is on Amazon Prime for free. You could watch it there now.
Okay. Good to know.
They're
I was trying to find them because I found the second one on like when Dollar Tree was still doing their DVDs and all that. That's where I found the second one, and I found the first one at a Dollar Tree. But the problem is that every time I'm at a Dollar Tree, I always shake the case to make sure the disc is still intact. And the one I found, the disc was like, I'm like, I'm not gonna touch this.
That noise is like fingernails on a chalkboard to me. Ugh.
Oh yeah.
That sucks. Yeah. But anyways, you don't have Haunt, John?
I know I own a movie called Haunt, but I can't find it. I don't want to spend all the time over there looking for it, but I know I own a movie called Haunt, and I've seen it, but I don't know if it's that Haunt.
Oh yeah, because there is another one from 2013. This is from 2019. This one right here, and directed by Scott Breck and Brian Woods. I guess they tag teamed it. But it's flat out amazing. This, if you need one movie to watch on Halloween, for me, this is it. Forget the Halloween movies. House of Thousand Corpses, I love so many different things. Funhouse, Hell Night, whatever. This is Halloween right here. Haunt.
Okay.
In my humble opinion.
I would definitely be adding it to my list because I have not seen it either.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
You will love it.
I didn't even know about it until you said something. So I would definitely.
That's why we're here. To educate. All right, Donald. What about you, man? What's your?
All right, so my second one, I'm going to give an honorable mention after I talk about this. But I went up to Walmart to see if I can grab the newest game in this. But unfortunately, Walmart did not have it. And so I was looking for there's two games I was trying to find because I don't have the physical version of the other series I was going to grab. But I figured, John, you might appreciate this. The Resident Evil series. I'm just going to group it all in one go.
Oh, nice.
Resident
Evil. Very cool.
This one is probably the weakest in my opinion because you have to control two characters and you would think they would be smart and say, hey, let's make this a 2-player game, right?
Wow.
Unfortunately, no. You gotta push start or something to switch between characters, and both characters are on basically your. I don't know if you're familiar with the first game, but basically it's you're on a train going to the mansion of the first game, and basically you're playing as these two characters, and you start off with her, then you get him later on, but they're on like two sides of like some wreckage or something of the train. Like the train's still moving, but like something happened that they can't get to each other. So basically, you have to keep pausing, hitting the pause button to switch to him, and then when you're doing something with her, he could be getting killed by a zombie or something. So you have to hurry up and switch back to him. Basically, fight off the thing, then switch back to. It's a nightmare. I hate it.
I have never played a first person shooter game. Never.
This isn't the first person shooter.
Oh, okay.
No, these are in person. This is basically the first three, and well, this would be four. Where basically they were all fixed camera angles. You see the character, and you just move around and you shoot zombies and all that. And this case, weird looking tentacle monsters. So maybe H.P. Lovecraft inspired. I'm not sure. Or slug looking things. Anyway, but they're tank controls. I don't know if you know what tank controls are. Basically, you have to hold up on the D-pad, up on the D-pad to move, and you have to hit right and left to turn. So
yeah,
they remade. I think they did a remaster of this on PS4, and they took away the tank control. So I'm gonna have to play it that way. But
yeah,
so
I'm a platform game guy. I'm old school platform, like Mario Bros, like like shit like that, like way back in the day. So yeah, but I got so many games. Maybe one day I'll play them. But good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Well, here's my honorable mention, real quick. If for those of you that have kids, Luigi's Mansion.
Oh yeah. I've heard that.
Basically all it is Mario's brother Luigi inherits. Well, the first game he inherits a mansion, and he's got to clean it out with ghosts with a vacuum cleaner.
Nice.
Okay.
So, and then they made a second and third game. I have not played this. This is actually still sealed. I've just bought the second one, so I'm playing through that first. But then I'm going to get to this at some point. So if you have kids, this would be the perfect game for, or if you just want to play it, you just like Mario. Perfect.
Yeah. Nice.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. So this is the last one, the last one out of the whole batch here. So now Philip would know this place. I don't know if Donald would, because it's between Vegas and California. It's that road and area that's like XXXXXY XXXXZ when you're driving. Yeah, it's that. And then you have there's that area out there that is
Didn't Stone Sour made a song about that?
Who?
There is a song about the road Zizix. Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, and out there there are buildings. It's an area where I'm blanking. What is it where you save land because the land has.
It used to be a resort owned by a guy who got busted for tax evasion, and he lost his whole resort. He was borderline resort culty kind of guy. It was very weird with some fake alternate medicines and stuff. But then so he lost it to the government. He got foreclosed and stuff. They kicked him out, and now it's part of I believe UCLA campus, the college, but it's like it is like protected land,
it's like a preservation or something. I'm trying to think of the exact word that I want.
I think it's like a reserve reservation or something like that, but they use it. College students go out there and study stuff, whatever they study.
And one of Tom Devlin's guys, Jason Wallace, he works out there, he lives out there. So he commutes from there into Boulder City to work with Tom. But so when I was trying to find a movie to make, I called them and I said, hey, I'd like to, because I drove through there, I walked around and went, God, this would be great to make a movie at. And so I got back home and I called them and said, I'd like to make a movie. They're like, okay. And I'm explaining to them the movie and they go, is there blood in it? And I went, yeah, it would be a slasher movie. They're like, no, thank you. Can't help you. Bye. And later I found out the reason why I was denied was because of this movie.
Oh, is that filmed there?
Yeah.
There's a movie filmed there? What?
What's
And
the movie called?
it's called The Last Resort. I love this film.
Huh.
It's these chicks are in Mexico. They're all partying and everything. They get into a van because these guys are going to take them on a tour. Of course, they get kidnapped, money stolen, and all that. They end up in that area where all those buildings are, and of course, they get possessed and haunted, and they murder everybody and all of that stuff. And I loved this film, and I owned it, but didn't realize that this was the movie that was shot there, that now they won't let people shoot movies there. And when I told Jason about this, Jason Wallace, he's like, oh yeah, the movie's called The Last Resort. They won't let people shoot there anymore because of this.
Huh.
Oh, wow.
Huh. What was, I just watched a movie recently I thought was called The Last Resort, but it was down in Mexico or something. Oh yeah, but look at that. What was the one I thought I mentioned it to you, John, that movie I watched recently that it's definitely not this movie. Oh yeah, man, they're out there. That's cool, huh? Where they went to that, maybe it was just called The Resort or something.
Oh,
those people are on that island and they go to that resort.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's
which I also love. I love this one too.
Okay.
I was gonna have this in one of my collections, but I've already reviewed it for Reviews After Midnight, so I decided not to include it. And then when I was going through my stuff, I saw this. I went, man, I've seen this like 5 times. I would put this on when I would write because I really enjoyed it and love the location because it's for the most part one location. But then finding out that I've been to this location and denied filming there because of this movie makes me love it even more when I probably should hate it. But I absolutely love this film. So it's got that America Livo. I think I'm not really sure how you say
Olivo, America Olivo.
Yeah. So was in a bunch of stuff for a while. But
she was in the Friday the 13th remake, a Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, probably 2 movies you've never seen before, huh?
Never even heard of them.
And Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, you probably
never heard of them. She had to have small roles. I would have recognized her. She's pretty stand out ish. I think that's her right there.
The Friday the 13th, Amanda, she's like not the lead chick, but she's
because there's the other chick in the remake where the guy says she's straddling him and she's naked, she's topless. The guy goes, "Your breasts are stupendous," and she goes, "No, thank you, but nobody's ever called my breasts stupendous before."
Yeah, that's funny. So if anybody who's watching wants to know more about that place out there, it's called California State University Desert Studies Center, ZYZX, ZZYZX. And Adam the Woo actually made a video out there for YouTube a while back. So it was very windy. His hat blew off into the water. So it was kind of funny. But if you're ever looking for that, but the history of the ZYZX is a very interesting history. I think you can find some YouTube videos or something on it. But the dude who started the place, it was started as a resort, was a weird individual.
Yeah, you could see a lot of stuff out there. I mean, they might let you film if you're doing a romantic comedy, type of thing. But they're not going to let you do a horror movie. That's for sure. Yeah. At least when I asked them, they didn't. So,
Oh, here you go.
From what I
In night,
from what I was understanding, they asked is there going to be blood in it. So
yeah,
maybe you're allowed to do like a psychological horror movie, but as long as there's no
Maybe.
blood in it.
Yeah, because other films have been shot there. I mean, you've seen some movies that do take place out in the desert in Nevada or California / Nevada, and they have been shot there. But
yeah.
yeah, I
And so just quickly, the history says in 1944, radio evangelist and self-proclaimed doctor Curtis Howe Springer named the area Zizix, claiming it was the last word in the English language. He established Zizix Mineral Springs and Health Resort on federal land, selling spring water and other products to travelers. So he was suckering people in as they drove by. So a weirdo. And then in 1974, the U.S. government was like, by the way, you never owned that land. We're taking it back. So
there you go.
But, yeah. So
yeah, it's an interesting place. So, okay, so we are just about finished. So it was my idea for this video. It was Donald's idea to show 3 movies, and then it was Philip's idea on what are we going to be doing for Halloween. How are you celebrating?
yeah.
So Philip, once again, you're the guest, so you go first.
Yeah. So in general, and we haven't finalized plans this year, but typically on Halloween, we have like this little portable fire pit thing. We put it out in our driveway and have a little fire, get the jack-o'-lanterns going, do a little bit of decorating and stuff. And then sometimes we'll even take the projector out there and point it at the garage and have like a kid-friendly Halloween movie playing, like Paranorman or something like that, playing out there on the garage as kids come by and stuff. We've even had kids want to sit and stay and watch the movie instead of continue on trick-or-treating. And then we'll just sit there and hand out candy and stuff as they come. And then one year I tried the, I forget what it was called, but it was Iron Maiden came out with like a bottle of wine, whatever it was called. So I was drinking like Iron Maiden's wine out there. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We just do that. Last year specifically, because things going on, different stuff, we didn't do that. And that's typical. I mean, we've done that like for the last several years, but last year I actually did a live stream on Halloween and I had a camera pointing out. So everybody watching my live stream was able to see the kids coming up trick-or-treating and seeing me giving them Halloween candy. And then I would, when there was no kids, I would come back and sit down and talk and everything. So that was a lot of fun. That may be what I do again this year too. We'll see, depending how things go. Cause I think my daughter is going to be home from the Navy for that day. So we'll see, but man, just hanging out, having a little bonfire, in the driveway, handing out candy to kids. We get a ton of kids around here. So it's a blast. And then of course, after that, coming in and popping in some good horror movies to end off the night.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds fun. That sounds like a full day. So yeah, that sounds great. Yeah. Donald, what about you?
Well, usually there's not a lot. I don't have a lot of people that do like Halloween parties or anything like that. So what I usually, and I'm not really a party person that much. So what I'm usually do is I either find a movie, or this year I am going to. I got funny story when I was talking about the game I was going up to find. The other game I was looking for was Silent Hill 2. They remade it from, it was originally on PS2. They remade it. So I'm hoping to find that game in the next week or so. So that day I can just sit down, shut the lights off, just nothing but the screen, and play Silent Hill 2.
Nice.
All right, there you go.
And I mean, psychological horror, so.
Yeah, okay. Normally I would be just either I'd be working, but if I have the day off, I would just be at home watching horror movies all day. Probably order a pizza, do like the whole wings and get all that type of stuff, the soda with it, and just watch horror movies the whole day. But this year I will be waking up early and going off to start to shoot my scenes for the new Immortal Wars movies with Joe Lujan. My character, Dr. Kell, will be back, so I'll be shooting from like 8:30 to 3, and then after that is when I'll be coming home and just watching movies and probably getting a pizza and stuff like that. So that is what I will be doing.
Shooting on Halloween, huh?
Yeah,
that's interesting. Huh.
I
mean,
did bring,
something
I
you
did
love,
bring that
so
up.
why not? Yeah,
yeah. I did say you do know this. You do know that's Halloween, right? You know,
Yeah.
it's almost like telling somebody, you know, well, you do know it's the Super Bowl, right? You know, like, you know, they're like, well, yeah, but it's we're shooting at a haunt, at the haunt that Joe normally shoots at, and we have to shoot all the Immortal Wars stuff that he wants to shoot at the haunt before the end of the month. So
makes sense. Yeah.
But then they'll just shut it all down. This way there's electricity and all that stuff in there. So we got to get in there and shoot my scenes. So but it's just, you know, I'm not going to say no. I get to come back in another film. So I'm happy about that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of shooting in haunts, there is a haunted house I went to a couple years ago with Wet Movie One and Cinestalker, and little did I know that when we shot this last movie, Heretics, we used that same haunted house for a lot of the scenes when they're supposed to be underground running away from these cult killer people. I was like, no fucking way. I've actually been through this haunted house. Now I get to go in as a gaffer and fucking light it all up and get it set up for a movie. Fuck yeah. So I cannot wait. I can't wait for this movie to come out December 6th in a theater near you.
Oh, there you go. Maybe it'll be the next Terrifier 3.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. If not, we're shooting a doll movie starting on November 7th. So it got pushed back. We're supposed to already be in production, but that's okay. We got past Halloween and everything. So
okay, well, there you go. Stuff to look forward to. So since Phillip here is you know plugging away, Donald, anything you would like to plug away on? And I guess I plugged too. So you know, to be all
I haven't really been working on anything the last couple of days, a couple of months. I'm getting some inspiration. Don't want to say anything yet, but I'm gonna probably try to start working on something again.
You should, dude. You know, you're. I like your short films and stuff. You know, so you should definitely hop on something.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I just had that you know, one of those like I don't know, like writer's block, not really writer's block, but you know, something like that. You know, just gotta figure out the time, you know, figure out the place, you know, and just start writing a script, because all my short films are pretty much just, you know, me just doing something. You know, I never planned. I just shot it on the fly and then edited a story together. But now I'm gonna try to get something actually written out and get something planned so I can actually do. You know,
I think your stuff is better than that. You know, I'll say this and then we'll take off. But it's Phillip and you know, both of you have something in common, is you're both part of that cosmic horror anthology. If I get off my ass and finish it, you have a film in both volumes. Phillip has a film in one volume, and so you guys are connected, you know, that way. So I if your stuff was just me shooting on the fly, I wouldn't have added it. So you know, I like Phillip's short, I like your shorts. So you know, it's better than what you think. You know.
Well, to be fair, the one that I shot for you with that, I actually took the time. I did a script and everything. I planned all that out. You know, I had a story. Like most of my short films that you can see on YouTube is pretty much just like me. Just, you know, I had an idea. Let's do it. Now I'm not saying like to me, I'm my own worst critic, so I'll be the first to admit it. So. To me, all my movies suck, but to everyone else, like, no, dude, that was really good.
But you know what? That is like when you make something, you know, it's your project. It's like, for me, I'm the same way. I'm like, fuck, this sucks. God damn. I get it. I understand.
Oh, I'm the opposite. All my stuff is fucking awesome. So yeah, none of my stuff sucks at all. I love, you know,
red, blue.
You know, I just sit at home doing this. It's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah.
God,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
good. I'm good. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I am the best. I am the greatest.
Oh yeah.
So
Give it to me,
right.
baby.
All right. Well, if anybody has anything else to plug, or if you guys want to talk about the movies or anything anymore, then we'll call it a night.
Nope, I'm done. I gotta go take a break because I got shits to do, man. And so do you.
Yes. So, all right, then. Okay, we'll say goodnight to everybody. Thank you for watching this, and we really appreciate it. So let us know what John Carpenter movies you like below. If you like any of these, yeah, give a big thumbs up and comment, share, do all that good stuff. And we will see you on the next film discussion. And we already know what that is for next month, which I might as well just say, but miniseries, right? We're looking at a miniseries. Yeah. You're going to recommend and I'll recommend. Yeah, so miniseries. And then we got two months of Sylvester Stallone coming up. So, you know, good old Sylvester.
You should, there's your mini. Well, I guess it's not a miniseries, it's actually a show because there's 2 seasons, but man, Sylvester Stallone, man, the Tulsa King. Having fun with it.
I want to watch that. So
I've heard it's good. I definitely want to check it out.
Yeah. So, okay, everybody, we'll see you on the next one, which will be next month. And we will talk to you soon. All right. Bye.